is on the air. This is Fort Bond at Navin Field, Detroit, where the St. Louis Cardinals and the Detroit Tigers start their battle for the World Championship. The play-by-play descriptions of all the World Series games are brought to you with the compliments of the Ford Motor Company, Mr. Henry Ford, Mr. Edgar Ford, and your local Ford dealer, producers and distributors of Ford and Lincoln cars and Ford trucks. The sponsors will be amply repaid if you get enjoyment from these broadcasts. In order that you might hear the play-by-play description of this game in its entirety, a number of advertisers have kindly omitted their regular afternoon broadcasts. Among those are Camé programs, usually heard at 3:15 over some of these stations. The program this afternoon will be heard instead at 4:30. Also, Procter & Gamble, manufacturers of Dress, and the makers of Octodol, who are moving their broadcast from 3 o'clock to 4:30. In behalf of the Ford Motor Company and the National Broadcasting Company, we wish to thank them for their courtesy. Now, fans, ladies and gentlemen, we present a man whose voice has been familiar to you over the air for years. Here he is to give you the thrill and color of this World Series pregame atmosphere. It's wild around here. A crowd fills the park, but here is the man who can tell you about it and picture it to you right there in your home. It's Graham McNamee, and here he is. Thanks, Ford. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the radio audience. We're at Navin Field this afternoon in Detroit, Michigan. We're in just about 15 minutes, or even a little less. The World Series will be opened by the umpire who will howl, play ball. And in this case, it will be Basil of the American League who will be behind the plate this afternoon. When he yells play ball, then the party will start. Magic words for the 47,000 wild-eyed, rabid baseball fans gathered in the stands, while thousands mill around the park, hoping that by some miracle they'll be able to squeeze themselves through those turnstiles tomorrow with a shoehorn or something of the kind. The Detroit Tigers and the St. Louis Cardinals, the Redbirds, that's the setup. And his general opinion is correct. The next week should produce a series of games which will make the blood flow plenty fast through the veins of those fortunate fans lucky enough to be here and in the stands down at St. Louis the latter part of the week. The bleacher crowd began to gather outside the park 2 days back, and this morning at 4 a.m. Oh, that's an awful hour to be up. I saw 5,000 expectant bleacherites waiting more or less patiently for the gates to open. They were a good-natured crowd, turning jokes here and there, playing cards, sleeping in blankets, or even in newspapers, those who were not fortunate enough to have blankets. Even a bit of a trap shooting game was going on here and there. The penny ante was indulged in. The weather coming into Detroit last night on the American Airways was just a bit threatening. It was very thick up above, and our ship even had a touch of difficulty coming in because the haze was so strong. But it's okay now. The weather remained bad most of the morning, and it looked as though it might possibly rain. But about 11:45, the sun just managed to peep through the haze, and although it's not clear now, all thought of rain has been dispelled. That's over for today. Fastball pitching should go mighty well in the semi-haze of today. We're situated just off first base on top of a double-deck stand, and although we're 150 feet off the foul line, we're so high up that the bag looks like a short jump from here. The series this year resembles last year's battle, in that both teams are under first-year managers. Frankie Brish, the old Fordham Flash, took over the Cardinals after midseason last year. And Mike Cochran of the Tigers came to Detroit after last season. From Philadelphia, of course, where he has been under Connie Mack for many years. Both are playing managers, of course. Brish covering second for the Cards and still losing his cap now and then as he shags those Texas Leaguers into right and center field. And Cochran, who is one of the greatest catchers ever to wear a chest protector. Both men know baseball from start to finish. They're no newcomers to the game. They're in there and know every move. And both are known as players who are at their best when the going is toughest. As money players, there's no choice between these two managers, and they're the best there are. I don't believe there ever was a series that promised more color and spice and pep with that Pepper Martin, Medwick, Brish, and the Dean brothers, Dizzy and Daffy for the Cards, and Cochran, Gehringer, Greenberg, and schoolboy roll for the Tigers. Detroit is more hungry for this series than any city in my recollection. 13 years at the microphone on World Series. The city has been eating, sleeping, and talking World Series for weeks and has packed every available inch of the stand. Just about every available inch now. They're coming in droves, and it won't be long before we won't be able to see a seat in the place unoccupied. And to cheer the Tigers on to victory. Opinion as to the outcome seems more even than I've ever seen it before. A fine band has been entertaining the crowd, and Al Check has furnished a lot of laughs with his antics as leader of the band and playing the clown at third base, as only Al can do it. A mob of groundkeepers has just been manicuring the base paths, and the foul lines have been newly chalked, and all is ready to grow. Well, the crowd color from the visual angle is not quite what we have seen it at times. The reason of that being, of course, is because it's rather chilly today. Men have on their overcoats and hats. You don't see any white shirts out today, and the ladies are done up in their furs and coats. So the color is just a little bit drab through the stand as it is through the sky. But the incentive to come to this series is there just the same. The umpires today are at the plate, Geisel of the American League. At first base, that grand old-timer, Bill Clem of the National League. And by the way, it's way back in 1909 since that Detroit won its last pennant. Not a World Series, but a pennant. And Bill Clem, way back there in 1909, was one of the umpires of that series. In fact, he's the only one of the four umpires who worked at that time who is alive today. At second base, Reardon. Clem will be at first. At second base, Reardon of the National League. And at third base, Owens of the American League. And in just about 7 minutes now, they'll be ready to go. Those are the umpires. That's the way they're lined up. And as you know, the umpires are switched each day through the series, whether it go 4, 5, 6, or 7 games, and they go clockwise around. In other words, the man on third today will be at the plate tomorrow. That is Owens. And they switch from day to day, going with the clock. I believe that Dizzy Dean and Al Crowder will pitch. I think that that's official. Mickey Cochran has said he will pitch Al Crowder. And Frankie Frisch comes through with Dizzy Dean. Dizzy, you know, has been hanging around Frankie Frisch's coattails for the past 3 days. Every time he got an opportunity to speak to his manager, he'd say, Frisch, can I pitch the opening game? And Frisch would look at him and say, maybe. Well, that didn't do Dizzy much good for a while, I suppose, because he just didn't know where he was standing, and he was just wild to pitch this game. But finally, Frankie came through and allowed his great ace, who has, with his brother, practically clinched the pennant for the National League team, the Cardinals, will pitch the first game. Star for Detroit, who was one of the outstanding features of the year to bring Detroit the flag, will not work today. He will probably be pitched in the second game, possibly against Daffy Dean, Dizzy's brother, tomorrow afternoon. That is Schoolboy Row. But today, it almost certainly will be Dizzy Dean and Al Crowder. Dizzy Dean for the Cardinals, Al Crowder for the Tigers. And now, let me go through the lineup for the afternoon. I believe this to be correct, and if there are any changes, we will give them to you when they are announced. We'll give you the visitors first. St. Louis Cardinals. Leading off, Martin, Pepper Martin, who simply walked away with a World Series in his pocket several years ago. That was, in my experience, the greatest one-man effort I have ever seen in baseball. Pepper Martin, third base for the Cardinals. Rothrock, R-O-T-H-R-O-C-K, right field. Frankie Frisch, manager, second base. Medwick in the cleanup position. Left field. Medwick. Collins at first base. Delancey. Delancey. Catching. Orsatti. Orsatti. Center field. Durocher. Durocher. Shortstop. Durocher, one of the greatest of all shortstops in the field. Not a terrific batter, but a marvel down there, getting in the way of those balls and getting them over to first base. And Jerome Dean, pitching for the Tigers. Detroit, White is the leadoff man. Center field. Mike Cochran has put himself in the second position. Mike used to bat third and fourth, you know, cleaning up. But now he is up in second place. Cochrane, catching. Geringer, Gehringer. Marvelous batting boy that plays second base for the Detroit Tigers, and one of the real reasons why Detroit is up there and in this series today. Greenberg, last year, just a rookie practically, just another first baseman, and today, one of the big talked of baseball stars. Greenberg, first base. And then that old Washington boy, whose acquisition was one of Cochran's big, fine steps this year. Bruce Goslin. You know, we've seen him playing World Series in Washington these many years. But now he's over with Detroit because Cochran was wise enough to pick him up. Rogel at short. R-O-G-E-double-L. Short. Owen at third base, O-W-E-N. Fox in right field, and Al Crowder will do the pitching. The umpires, we will repeat. There has been a change in the umpires in their position. We gave you what we had, but there has been a change. Owen is behind the plate. Clem, Bill Clem, at first base. Geisel at second base, and Reardon will be over at third. And now it's just 2.5 minutes before this ball game is going to begin. And I'm going to turn this microphone over, let the boys who are going to work inning by inning talk for a moment just to loosen up their whistles a little bit so that they'll get started on the right foot. First, Ford Bond will speak to you for a moment. He will turn the microphone over to Tom Manning. Ford Bond of New York and Tom Manning of Cleveland. We're going to call him his nickname, but I believe we've stopped calling him that nickname. Tom, what do you think of that? Anyway, Ford Bond will speak, then Tom will speak to you, and boys, who's going to start the game? Tom Manning. Tom Manning will work 4.5 innings, followed by Ford Bond for 4.5 innings. And now the umpires and the managers are about home plate. Talking the situation over for a moment, talking of certain ground rules, and getting ready to go. The field is cleared. All that's out there in the field are a few fielders lying on the ground. And come on, Ford, take this microphone. Ford Bond. The boys are just about ready to go out and start this man's ball game for the first game of the 1934 World Series between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Tigers of Detroit. There's the national anthem. Let's listen. just a moment to those Gene brothers again. St. Louis won 15 shutouts this year. The Genes scoring 12 of them, and the balance of the staff 3. Boys, listen to that crowd here as the boys go out into the field. Jerome won 7 of those 12 shutouts, and Paul 5. The balance of the staff 3, and Paul also had his great no-hit game against Brooklyn. Now, the boys are out in the field, and in just a few moments, this ball game is going to start, opening the series, and my old pal Tommy Manning of Cleveland, come on in.
Thank you, Graham. Good afternoon, everybody. We're over at Navin Field, Detroit, today. What a season this has been in baseball. What 2 teams we have out here. The color galore. The Team brothers. It's Jizzy and Daffy. It's that kind of a series, if you please. Over here in Detroit, for the first time in the history of the World Series, we've been postponed for 20 minutes to allow the crowd to get in. These fans here are so excited, so enthused over the expectancy of the color in this World Series that they have all taken it good nature. The band has just left the field. Detroit Tigers are out there now tossing the ball around. Hello, black fill that they've been using throughout the season. It's so black that it looks like a piece of coal. And that veteran right-hander, formerly of the Washington Senators, General Crowder, who pitched a great season in 1933, but faltered in the World Series, perhaps due to overwork. He is out there, being acclaimed again by these enthusiastic Detroit Rooters. Manager Mike Cochran, one of the greatest catchers of all time, will do the receiving. Here's the last-minute official lineup again. For St. Louis, Pepper Martin at third, Jack Rothrock in right, Manager Frisch at second, Medwick in left, Collins at first, Delancey, catch, Orsatti, center, DeRocher, short, and the great Jerome Dizzy Dean in the box. They say he's busy. I wish we was busy too. For Detroit, White, center, Manager Cochran, catch, Geringer, second, Hank Greenberg, first, Bruce Gosling, left, Billy Rogel, short, Owen, third. They say he's the most improved player in the majors this year. Fox in right field. Crowder pitching. Umpire Vic Owen behind the bat. Clem at first. Geisel at second. Reardon at third. The umpire has called play ball. Pepper Martin, the right-hand hitter, is stepped into the box. A great cheer goes up. General Crowder takes his glove off, stands back near the rosin bag, looks out towards center field. He has his outfielders all spotted. The old general steps up on the rubber. It won't be long now. Cochran ducks behind the plate. Pepper Martin taking his aim, swinging that old bat up and down. In that bluish gray uniform with cardinal red. He's swinging the bat up and down. Up goes Crowder's arm. The World Series is on. The first pitch. It's a bounder down third base. Owen has it. He whips it across the diamond. Greenberg. And Martin is out. One away. The first ball pitch. General Crowder taking a slow wind-up. Puts that ball over the heart of the plate. Pepper Martin, the right-hand batter, swung on 2 hops. Carvel and stepped over. Nonchalantly picked it up. Tossed it over to big Hank Greenberg. The series is on. The Cardinals in the first inning. 1 out. Nobody on. Jack Rothrock, formerly of the American League, playing a great game in right field for the Cardinals. He bats from left-handed, reputed to be a very fast runner, one of the fastest in the major league. The pitch, it's outside, ball 1. Jack Rothrock making a slow, easy aim at the pitcher, and here it comes. And there it goes, a high fly to center field. Out in the center field, and White is waiting for it. He has it. 2 men out. White puts that old ball into Johnny Geringer. Geringer to Owens to Greenberg. To Owens to Greenberg. They almost knock each other down. Then Greenberg bottles the ball a moment, tosses it over to General Crowder, and we're ready to go. Frankie Fish, the manager of the Cardinals. A left-hand hitter is at bat. He's a switch hitter, you know. And here it is. White ball, a fastball, right down the old alley. Strike 1 on the Cardinal manager, Frankie Fish. 2 men out in the first inning. Nobody is on. The windup, the pitch. A half swing, but it's declared a ball. And the count is ball 1 and strike 1. Frankie Fish is all set to lamb-face Zeppelin clear out on the cherry street, as they call it. And now the count of the Cardinal manager, ball one and strike one. Quick steps out of the box. Gets a pinch of dirt. Knocks the ducks off the shoes, and he's back in there again. The signal and the windup. Ball one, strike one, two out, nobody on. Here it is. He swings at the ground ball. The glove on, backs down. It's over near short. Owens goes over, retrieves the ball, but is unable to make a play, and I'm sure it is a base hit for the Cardinal manager, Frankie Quick. That was a ground ball. It is scored as an error. That ball was hit to the left of Bob Owens. He leaped over for it, batted it over towards shortstop. But Rogel was running over to back him up. He batted it over to the regular shortstop position and was unable to make a play. It is scored as an error for Bob Owens, the third baseman. Now we have Joey Reddick up, hits the first ball, pitches a base hit into left field. Frisch is rounding second base. Johnson retrieves the ball, puts it into Rogel at third. Quick bats to second. A single. Now we have runners on first and second. Frankie Frisch is on second. Medwick. Frankie Frisch on second. Medwick on first. Two men out in the first inning. And Rip Collins, who has hit 35 home runs this year. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the left-hand batter is up. General Crowder, a right-hand pitcher, is in the box. Gets his signal. Looks out towards second. And here it is. He hits the first ball. It's a drive into center field. White is backing up. He's under it. He has it. And a ball for the Cardinals in the first inning. No runs, one hit, and one error. Runners remain on first and second at the conclusion of the first half of the first inning. Come in for it.
That was a tense moment with two men on, two out. And Rip Collins is back. Man who has slapped out 35 homers this year. Here's the way that inning worked. Martin came up, knocked the first pitch down the third. He was out on the fast throw from Owen over to Greenberg. Reached the first backer just about 5 feet before the runner got there. Then Rothrock came up, slapped the second pitch on a high fly, sailing way out into center field with a hard-driven ball. But JoJo White was there when it came down, and two men were out. Frankie Frisch came up. Frankie Frisch drove one hard to the left of Marv Owen. Down on third, he came out, got his hands on the ball, and Frisch went on down to first with safe on Owen's error. Thrower calling it Owen's error, safe down on first. Medwick came up, slapped the ball hard out into left field. Frisch moved on down to second. Actually, he wanted to circle it, and Goose Gossman rammed it on into third base. Collins came up without on that fly, but here is the Tigers after first, and Tom Manning to give it to you. All right, Tom.
JoJo White, left-hand hitter, center field of the Tigers, in his white uniform with the blue letters. He's up there. The first pitch from Dizzy Dean. Strike one, call. Up burning fastball, so high, right down the old alley for a call strike. Dizzy Dean is out there wearing that big smile, just as confident as he has been in his 30 victories in the past season. The windup, a long, lean windup, and here it is. A hook ball is low inside. Ball one and strike one. It's the last half of the first inning. In this old World Series ball game at Haven Field, Detroit. You're receiving the description through the National Broadcasting Company. Ball one and strike one. The pitch. Ball two. A fastball. This is the outside corner of the plate. And the count on the left-hand hitter, JoJo White, is ball two and strike one. He is the leadoff man of the Tigers. Delancey the catcher, and here's the pitch. Ball three, a fastball. It drives JoJo White away from the plate, and the count on the first Tiger hitter. Ball three and strike one. Boy, oh boy, that Dizzy Dean certainly has plenty on that ball. There it is. It's a strike. Right down the middle, and the count on JoJo White is ball three and strike two. Dizzy Dean swinging those big arms that come down almost to his knees. What a big fellow he is. Here's the windup. The count is 3-2. There it is. There it goes. It's a ground ball. Down short. DeRosa has it. He hits it to Collins. And JoJo White is out. That was comparatively an easy catch. DeRosa taking that ball about so high. And a nice throw right over, shoulder high to Collins. And the Tigers have one man out in the first inning. Mike Cochran gets a great hand as he steps to the plate. Manager Mike Cochran in his first year as manager of the American League. He's back to left-handed. Here's the first pitch to Mike. Ball one. A fastball is low and just a little bit inside. The last half of the first inning. No scoring yet. One man out. Nobody on. Cochran up. And it's ball one. Dizzy Dean, right-handed is pitching. Delancey catching. Here it comes. It's a ball. A fastball is outside. That was close, and the count on Mickey Cochran is 2-0. Guy Perkins is coaching at first, Baker at third. One out, nobody on. Ball to the pitch. Plate, ball. That was a nice fast one. Over the plate, well high. And now the count on manager Cochran. Ball 2 and strike 1. Charlie Gehringer, the Tiger second baseman, hanging around home plate. The pitch. He swings. It's a ground to the first. Fish is down on his knees. He comes up. Out at first. Fish to Collins. That was a hard ground ball. Manager Fish goes down on both knees. He stumbled momentarily, but came up with the ball, tossed it over to Collins, and Cochran is out. Now we have 2 in out, and nobody on. Charlie Gehringer, one of the greatest second basemen of all time, gets a great hand as he steps to the plate. He has played marvelous ball here for the Tigers, and he gets a great hand as he steps up to the batter's box. He's also a left-hand hitter. Charlie had a great battle on this year, for the batting leadership of the American League. The first pitch, it's a strike ball. Charlie Gehringer elected to look that first one over. Dizzy Dean is in the box, General Carter for Detroit. Last half of the first inning, 2 out, nobody on. No score as yet. Here's the windup. Strike 1 on the hitter. Ball. That was a third ball that missed the outside corner. And Dizzy Dean takes his head just a little bit. And now it is ball 1 and strike 1. 2 men out. Last half of the first inning. And nobody on. Here's the windup. 1-1. The pitch. It was sweeping. Hook ball that is lower inside. Gehringer steps back. Ball 2 and strike 1. Gehringer pulls quite a bit away from the plate on that last pitch. It's sort of a change of place offering. Now it's ball 2 and strike 1. The windup. The pitch. He swings. It's a base hit. A base hit in the left field. The ball out there is received by Joey Medley. He whips it into Leo DeRoche at second. And Charlie Gehringer is on first base. A ringing single to left field. That is the first Tiger hit of the World Series. Hank Greenberg is coming up. Hank Greenberg is a big Tiger first back or a right-hand hitter. Frankie Twist has left his position at second and has ran in to back with Dizzy Dean. Now he's going back again. The last half of the first inning, 2 men have been retired. Charlie Gehringer on first, and Hank Greenberg at bat. The outfielders are moving back, ready for the pitch, and here it is. It's a ball ball down third base. Pepper Martin comes up with a throw. He is out at first. That was a beautiful play by Pepper Martin. He went down to his left, reached for the ball, and threw it over there, just off the ground to Rip Collins at first base, and that is all for the Tigers in the first inning. No runs, 1 hit. Matt Doller, Gehringer was left on the base. Come in for it. White came up to start off the Tigers part of this ball game here in the first inning. White banged a hot one down to Leo DeRoche, who took it fast, got it over to Rip Collins on first, and 1 man was gone for the Tigers in the first inning. Cochran then came up, Mickey Cochran. Cochran banged one down to Frisch. Frisch stumbled, went down hard after the ball, but came up with it and wanged it over to Collins, and 2 men were out. 2 out, nobody on. Gehringer came up. Gehringer got a hold of Lever and lifted it out on a drive into left field. A single over the shortstop's head, and he was down on first. There he was on first with big Hank Greenberg. Hank Greenberg, a mighty man with a bat, up there to face Dizzy Dean. He drove one down to Martin. Martin took it prettily, slammed it over to Collins, and they were down 4 men up and 3 out for the Tigers in the first inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. And 2 big zeros hang out there on the scoreboard in right field. A 0 for St. Louis and 1 for Detroit at the end of the first inning. Going into the second now, here is Delancey coming up to bat for the Cards, and Tom Manning to give you the second inning. All right, Tom.
General Carter, that right-hand veteran, is out there in the box to wind up the first pitch to Delancey, the left-hand hitter. He hits the first ball, it's a long poke to left field. Gosselin is back near the barrier. Under it, he has it. That was a long drive about 5 feet from the barrier in deep left field. Bruce Gosselin backing up, taking the ball. He then flips it over to JoJo White in center. White to Roquel, to Owen, to Gehringer, to Greenberg. And now General Carter again has the ball with his glove off, handling the ball with his bare hand. He gets a bit of rosin, and we're ready to go again. Ernie Oshadi, the center fielder of the St. Louis Cardinals of the National League, is up. He hits the first ball, it's a hit into left field. He was a left-hand batter, and he cracked the first ball, pitch, a line drive into left field. The ball is received by Bruce Gosselin. He returns it to Roquel at second. It's a single for Ernie Oshadi.
That's the second hit of the afternoon for the Cardinals. And that brings Leo DeRosa up. Leo DeRosa, you know, backs him right-handed. Here's the little shortstop of the St. Louis Cardinals. Carter is pitching and Cochran catching. Here's the first pitch. It's a strike. Ball. General put that one in there. Letter high. Letter high, as Bill Mundy would say. Here's the next pitch to Leo DeRosa. Ball one. That was a hook ball. That was a little bit outside. And the count on DeRosa is ball one and strike one. In the second inning, one man out. There's a peg over to first. Nothing happens. Carter has the ball again in the box. Leo DeRosa batting. Ball one, strike one, the pitch. He swings. It's a poke high out in the center field. Jojo White backing up a bit. Under it, he's waiting. And he has it. 2 men out in the first half of the second inning. The Cardinals batting. And we still have Orsatti on first base. Now, Jerome Dizzy Dean is coming up. In the hotel lobby this morning, Will Rogers. He needs no introduction. Said, how's the old arm, Dizzy? Said, well, it's okay. Says, the wife don't want me to pitch, but Grove's gone. When there's a ball game and any pitching to be done, I'm the pitcher. And there he is. He's in there pitching. And here's the first pitch to Dizzy. He swings at the foul back. Strike one. And when Dizzy Dean asked Will Rogers how he was getting along, particularly over Russia, he said, well, Dizzy, they had me play in the outfield. He said, I didn't do any pitching. But they had a great time together. They're two great fellows, Will Rogers and Dizzy Dean. All right, it's the last half of the second inning. You know, 2 men out. Orsatti on first, and the count on Dizzy Dean is strike one. Here's the pitch. He swings at the bounding ball. Down there, second row. Garrell has it. Crosses to Geringer. And Geringer drops the ball, and everybody is safe. That was a ground ball, and Willie Roquel crossed it easy, went over to Geringer, and Geringer dropped the ball, and now we have runners on first and second. We've been delayed a moment while Dizzy Dean is putting on that strike Cardinal sweater. The strike was all right, and Charlie Geringer, the second baseman of the Tigers, is charged with an error. Now we have Orsatti on second. Dean on first. 2 men out. And Pepper Martin. Pepper Martin, the star of the series of 31. Boy, will you ever forget what he did in that series. He stole bases. He hit home runs. He climbed up on the fence. He flagged ground drives. And here he is again. Pepper Martin was slowly getting into the box. He was in there, but Carter was ready to pitch, and he jumped out of the box quickly. And all ready to go again. Pepper Martin is up the first pitch. Foul back. Strike one. Pepper Martin wasn't kidding on that swing. Let that bat go from way back that time. No scorers yet. The first half of the second inning. Orsatti is on second. Dizzy Dean is on first. And Pepper Martin is up with 2 outs. Strike one. General Carter, a right-hander pitching. Cochran catching. Here it comes. It's a foul back. Pepper Martin lets the bat slip out of his hand, and it flies through over to the boxes in back of home plate. Now we have strike 2 on Pepper Martin. We have runners on first and second to no scorers yet in this first World Series ball game from Latham Field, Detroit. Pepper Martin's back in the box again now. Right to the count. Here it is. It's a bounding ball down third base. The big hop. Horn has it. Here's the throw. And the throw is wide. And everybody is safe. The bags are loaded. Harbour took that ball. He backed up on it. Then threw it wide to Hank Greenberg. Pulling Greenberg off the bag. And now we have the back loaded, as it were. And 2 men out. That is an error for third base from Orange. That is the third error of the afternoon for the Tigers. And here's the picture as you see it now. Ernie Orsatti is on third base. Dizzy Dean is on second base. Pepper Martin is on first base. And we have 2 men out. Jack Rothrock is coming up. The last time up, Rothrock hit a fly ball to Jojo White in center field. He backed the left hand of the pitch. Ball run. Crowder's hook ball was low inside. As we gaze around at the bullpen, nobody warming up as yet. It's the first half of the second inning. The Cardinals have the bag loaded, 2 men out. The windup, and here it is. Strike call. That was a fast one. Held high, and now the count on Jack Rothrock is up there hitting it. The bag's loaded. 2 men out, and the bags are loaded. There it is. It's a drive in the center field. It's a base hit in the left center field. Orsatti is coming in. Dean is rounding second. Third base coming in. The throw is to the infield. And Papa Martin goes to third base. 2 runs score for the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's the picture again. The bags were loaded. Jack Rothrock was up there, and he hit a line drive into left center field. It was a single, and it chased Orsatti across the plate. Also, Dizzy Dean. Papa Martin went to third. Rothrock stopped at first, and it is now St. Louis 2, Detroit nothing. Runners on first and third, 2 men out, and manager Frankie Fish coming up. Frankie bats a left-handed, you know, with a right-hand pitcher in the box. The pitch, it's a foul, strike 1. That was certainly a smack by Jack Rothrock, a line drive into left center field. For a moment it looked like extra bases, but JoJo White was over there, took the ball on the second hop, and whipped it in there to Rodell, holding Rothrock at first. Here's the pitch. It's a long foul upstairs. Strike 2 on Frankie Fish. First half of the second inning, you know, St. Louis Cardinals 2, Detroit Tigers nothing. Frankie Fish, the manager of the Cardinals, who stepped out of the batter's box for a moment, knocked the dust off his shoes, and now he's back in there again with runners on first and third. 2 men out. First half of the second inning. Crowder takes it second, and here's the pitch. It's too high outside. Ball 1. With a count 2-0, Crowder elected to try to get Fish to swing at a high, fast one outside. And now we have strike 2, ball 1. Frankie Fish was batting left-handed this afternoon against the right-hand slant of Crowder. Runners on first and third. 2 out. Here it is. He swings at the ground ball. Geringer fumbles the ball, retrieves it quickly, crosses the Greenberg, and Fish is out at first base. That is a nice play by Charlie Geringer. A ground ball between Geringer and Greenberg. Geringer coming over far to his left, knocked the ball down, fumbled it momentarily, turned all the way around, and then crossed to Greenberg, getting first at first base. Come in for it.
What happened that inning? Delancey came up, banged the fly out to left field. Dawson was right up against the wire, and cricket, there was 1 gone. Orsatti came up, slapped one between the third baseman and shortstop into left field for a single. Then Juriker next at bat, a man on first, 1 out, and he slapped one out to JoJo White in center field, and 2 men were gone. 2 out, a man on. Dean came up. Dean drove 1 down. Rodell covered, kept off second base, crossed to Geringer. Geringer made an error, taking a throw for Rodell, and Orsatti would save it second. Martin it back. 2 on, 2 out. A bounder down to third, and would save it first on Owen's quiet throw to first base. Rothrock came up, slammed 1 out into center field, scoring Orsatti and Dean. Martin went to third. Rothrock was on first. Fish was the next man in the batting order. He wrapped 1 down to Geringer. Geringer had a hard time handling it. It was a bad ball to handle, but he got a hold of it, picked up off the ground, got it over to Greenberg, and the Fabs retired. 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 errors. Here is Bruce Goslin at bat in Detroit's half of the second, and Tom Manning. The first pitch to Goslin. A change of pace, offering it high outside. Bruce Goslin, you know, is a left-hand hitter. Ball 1. Dizzy Dean is in the box for the St. Louis Cardinals with Delancey behind the bat. Goslin is first up in the last half of the second. Here's the pitch. It's a strike. A nice hook ball. It comes over just above the knees, and the count on Bruce Goslin is ball 1 and strike 1. Goslin is up. Rodell hanging around home plate. The pitch. It's the ball inside, and the count on Goslin. Ball 2 and strike 1. Goslin pulling away from that one. Dizzy Dean had plenty on it, too. Mrs. Dizzy Dean said that Jerome would not pitch this afternoon, but apparently Jerome won out. It's a high foul. Almost up in the third deck behind home plate, and now the count on Goslin is 2-2. Goslin leading off for the Tigers in the last half of the second inning. Goslin batting, and Billy Rodell will hit next. 2-2. Dizzy is taking a little more time at the moment. Now he's ready to go. There's a long wind-up, and here it is. It's a base hit into left field. Sedgwick retrieves the ball, tosses it in there to Theodore Rosen at second, and it's a 1-base drop for Bruce Goslin. Goslin took a hold of a high fastball inside and drove it to left field. It's a hard hit ball, and Joey Medwick handled the ball very neatly out there in left field, returning it to DeRocher and holding Goslin at first.
That's the second hit of the afternoon for the Tigers. Billy Rogel is up. You know, he's a switch hitter. He bats him either left or right-handed. That's Billy Rogel. He's hitting left-handed this afternoon. Billy Rogel is up there, and the count is strike one on Bill Rogel. There's the long lean wind up again of Dizzy Dean. The pitch. Strike, swinging. Strike two. That ball was up around the peak of the cap. Billy Rogel right those Highlands, and he took a murderous cut at it and missed. Strike two on Rogel. Last half of the second inning. St. Louis Cardinals 2, Tigers nothing. Nobody out. Goslin is on first. Here's the pitch. Hit the ball outside. Apparently that was a pitch out. With the count, strike two. Delancey sneaks far on the outside of that plate. And now the count on Billy Rogel. Ball two, strike two, and ball one. Bob Owen hanging around home plate. There's the stretch. The pitch. Hit the ball outside. The count on Billy Rogel, who is batting left-handed, is ball two and strike two. The last half of the second inning, the first game of the World Series. From Maven Field, Detroit, to the National Broadcasting Company. 2-2 is the count. Strike three. The throw to second, a double play. Goslin is out, and Frankie Fish was hurt on the play. Dizzy Dean, everybody was running out to second base. On that play, you know, Goose Goslin was on first base. Goslin was off with the pitch. It was a called strike on Billy Rogel, and then Delancey put the ball to Fish. Fish took the ball sitting on second base. Goslin went in hard and knocked Frankie Fish down. And now all of the Cardinal players have left the bench. They're backed out there at second base. The trainer is out there, and they're all bending over Frankie Fish. He got up and walked about 15 yards away from the second base cushion, and then again sat down on the ground, and as we observed him coming over toward first base, he was rubbing his left shoulder. We all sincerely hope that nothing severe has happened to Frankie Fish. Uh-oh, Dizzy Dean is out there. Dizzy Dean is patting him on the back and saying something, and Smiley is probably saying, "Come on, old kid, you can take it better than just Dizzy saying." Goose Goslin went in there that time. Unintentionally, we are sure, but his knee was a little high. Frankie Fish was rather low to take that throw, and Goose Goslin's knee bumped into the shoulder and the neck of Frankie Fish. And now, as the players are going back to their positions, Frankie Fish is up, and he certainly can take it. He's a great money player, and that game's if ever one did live. That's the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. He's up there now waving his players to go back to their positions, and he is rubbing the right side of his neck near the shoulder. Aximo was a double play. Goslin was out at second. Rogel was called out on strike. 2 men out. Last half of the second. Nobody on. And Bob Owen, the great surprise player of the American League, the third baseman of the Tigers. They said he wasn't good enough for the American League at the spring training base, but he certainly has been a great third baseman for the Tigers. Strike one, called. A foul on that particular play. Owen tries to duck away from a fastball inside. The ball accidentally hit his bat, threw into the lower deck of the stands, and of course it is strike two. That was a burning fastball that Owen tried to duck away from. 2 men out, nobody on. Strike two on Owen, a right-hand batter. Dizzy Dean takes a little too long in shooting that ball straightward, and Owen steps out of the box. He's in again. Dean winds up. Strike two to pitch. Strike three, he swings and misses. And that is all for Detroit Tigers in the last half of the second inning. At the end of 2 innings, it is St. Louis Cardinals representing the National League 2. Detroit Tigers of the American League 7 forward.
3 up and 3 down then. Goslin came up, the Goose. Goslin, the left fielder of the Tigers, drove the ball into left field, a pretty single, a clean, ringing single. He was down on first. Rogel came up. Rogel came up, 1 on, nobody out. Now went up to 3-2 on him. Goslin trying to take a terrific lead off first. Dizzy Dean tried for him once, then turned his attention to the batter. On the next pitch, Rogel struck out, and Dawson was off like a flash for a second. Delancey pegged it down to Frisch. Dawson went in hard, and as you heard, Frisch was hurt. But there were two out, a strikeout and a man out of second trying to get down there on that third strike. Then Owen came to bat. Owen came up, and the first was a called strike. The second, he tried to get out of the way. The ball hit his bat, fouled off, and it was strike two. Then Dizzy took it, wound up, rammed it over the plate, and he swung hard, collecting a lot of air on the end of his bat for the third out. No runs, one hit, no errors. And here are the Cardinals up with Joey Medwick, Ducky Medwick at bat in the first half of the third inning, and Tom Manning to give it to you with Stoddard taking his place in the box. All right, Tom.
That's right, Medwick, you know, is the boy who got the first hit in this Blue Ribbon event of 1934. His first time up, a beautiful base hit. And now he's coming up for the second time. Carter is in the box, you know, for the Tigers, the right-hand pitcher, Cochran catching. Medwick up, and it's ball one. There's a base hit of the left field, his second hit of the afternoon. Dawson goes over fast, receives the ball, puts it into Rogel at second base, and Joey Medwick stops at first. 2 hits out of 2 trips to the plate. Nothing spooky about the base hits that we are having on either side this afternoon. They're ringing drives to the outfield. And now we have Collins coming up. Collins, you know, is the St. Louis Cardinal first baseman, a left-hand batter who has 35 home runs for the season. The pitch. It's a ball. The hook ball is high inside. It's the first half of the third inning, you know. St. Louis Cardinals 2, Detroit nothing. The starting pitchers are still in the ball game. Crowder for Detroit, Dizzy Dean for St. Louis. There's the stretch. Medwick on first, nobody out. It's a foul. The ball comes off the umpire's chest protector and bounds very rapidly back out to General Crowder. Another count on Rip Collins, ball one and strike one. Ball one, strike one on Collins, the left-hand batter. The pitch, he swings it to Crowder down first. Greenberg takes it, goes to Rogel at second. Out, that's the throw. He's in the dirt, and it's a wild throw. Back from Rogel. And Collins goes to second base. On that play, Medwick was on first. Collins hit a ground ball to Greenberg. Greenberg flipped the ball to Rogel, forcing Medwick at second. Billy Rogel then, and trying to complete the double play, threw past Greenberg, and Collins went to second base. That, of course, will be scored as an error for Billy Rogel, the shortstop. And now we have Collins on second base. One man out, and catcher Delancey. The left-hand batter is up. That was a made-to-order double play. Greenberg coming up nicely with that ball and throwing it to Rogel. That is the fourth error of the afternoon for the Tigers. Collins is out on second base in a scoring position. Delancey, the catcher, back to left-hander, is up in the first pitch. It's a ball. The hook ball is just a little bit high on the inside. Ball one on catcher Delancey. There's the stretch. Runner on second to no, one out. The pitch. It's a ball. The fastball is too high. And the count on Delancey. Yep, Bernie O'Scotty hanging around home plate. Crowder, you will note, is looking just a little bit slower now. Here's the pitch. The ground ball, down first base. Greenberg fumbles the ball, and Gerringer receives it. The ball is at the plate, and Collins continues on and beats the third, scoring. That was a ground ball, but Collins on second base. It was a ground ball down first baseway. Greenberg allowed the ball to trickle to his leg. Charlie Gerringer retrieved the ball, and Collins round the third base, going at full speed, and stood in just ahead of the throw, scoring. That is scored as an error for Hank Greenberg, the Tiger first baseman. And the score now, the St. Louis Cardinals 3, Detroit Tigers 7. Manager Mike Cochran has taken off his chest protector and his cap and has walked out to the box. He's standing out there bareheaded. Bob Owen, the third baseman, has walked over to the pitcher's box. Hank Greenberg has also walked over for a conference with manager Mike Cochran. They're standing around there now, but General Crowder has walked out just a few paces behind the pitching rubber. Manager Mr. Cochran has been called plateward by Brick Owen. Brick Owen has raised his mask now, telling the boys to hustle up a little bit. And Cochran walks out again toward the pitcher's box, and he says something to third baseman Bob Owen and to first baseman Hank Greenberg. Now Cochran is going back behind the plate. Leo DeRocher, very gentlemanly, has picked up Cochran's cap and chest protection, cap and mask rather, and has handed it to him. Cochran puts them on, and now ready to go again. Crowder stays in the box. Oreo Scotty is up. He hits the first ball, picks the foul down the left field line. Ruder's out there in the field boxes making an attempt to get the ball, but Bruce Goslin runs over and retrieves the ball and throws it back into the diamond. Oreo Scotty is up, and it is a foul, strike one. St. Louis Cardinals 3, Detroit nothing. First half of the third inning. Here's the pitch. Here's the back out for it. Right field. And it is out. Fox comes in fast to take the ball from high, throws it into Carrier, and now we have two men out. Two men out, and Leo DeRocher coming up. Leo DeRocher, backs him right-handed. Here's the shortstop for the St. Louis Cardinals. Delancey on first. Two out. DeRocher hits the first ball. It's a lefty slide for it. Right field with Pete Fox coming over a little bit. He's under it, and he has it. That is all for the St. Louis Cardinals in the first half of the third inning. Come in for it. The Cardinals, Medwick up in the first half of the third. He rammed one past third baseman Marv Owen for a single. He was on first. Collins at bat. Collins grounded one hot down to Greenberg, returned, winged it down to Rogel. Medwick out at second. Rogel threw low back to first, and Collins went on down to second when the ball went back to Greenberg there on Rogel's error. The bad throw. And on second, Delancey up. Delancey drove one hop down to Greenberg. Greenberg got the ball tickled through his legs, and he was safe at first. Collins went on in, scoring, driving into the home plate ahead of the throw, getting in there, and was called safe. Orsatti then came up, slammed the fly out into right field, where Pete Fox was under when it came down, and two men were gone. DeRocher then came up, 1 on, 2 out. He left one out the same direction, and Pete Fox had the third foot out. So the score is 3-0. 2 runs for the Cardinals in the second inning, 1 run in the third, 3-0, and Detroit summing up with Pete Fox, Irvin Pete Fox, the right fielder who made those last 2 outs for the Tigers, coming up first here in their half of the third. Here's the windup and the pitch. It's a high fly ball, back of first base. Collins is back just right on the line. He takes it. 1 man out. Pete Fox with a count, ball 1 and strike 1. Lifted a little pop fly at back of first base. That's Rip Collins backed up for. General Crowder is getting a nice hand from the fans here at Maven Field as he steps up to the plate. General Crowder, bats him left-handed. Here's the Tiger pitcher. Left-hand batter, last half of the third inning. 1 out and nobody on. Dizzy Dean's first offering. Gets a call strike. A fastball that was right down the old alley. Rick Owens, umpiring behind the bat. Raises that right hand indicating a called strike. Ball. Fastball is low inside. Crowder stepping back away from the plate. And now the count is ball 1 and strike 1. General Crowder completes the first round of the Tiger hitters. Here's the ninth batter of the afternoon for Detroit. Ball 2. The fastball is high inside of the count on pitcher Crowder. Ball 2 and strike 1. Last half of the third inning. Tigers 3 runs behind. 1 out and nobody on. The pitch. Strike. Ball. That is a curve ball. Crowder pulled away from the plate. But Rick Owens called it a strike, and the count is 2-2. St. Louis Cardinals 3, Detroit Tigers 0. It's the last half of the third, 1 out and nobody on. JoJo White hanging around home plate. The pitch. It's a high pounder, a top ball. Dean has it, tosses to Collins, and Crowder is out. Crowder swung hard at that ball, but popped it, and it was a high pounder about 15 feet high that Dizzy Dean waited for, and then tossed over to Collins. Now we have 2 men out. Nobody on. And JoJo White, center field of the Tigers, coming up. Last time up, White pounded out DeRocher to Collins. Here's the first pitch to White. Ball 1. Fastball was inside. White pulled his bat down as if to bunt them, throwing Papa Martin, who came carrying in fast. But of course it was a ball, and nothing further happened. Here's the windup again. Dizzy Dean pitching. Here it is. It's a foul up and back. Ball one, strike one. Manager Mickey Cochran coming up next. Last half, the third inning, 2 out, and nobody on. Dean winds up, and here it is. Ball two. 2 and strike one. Again, JoJo White pulled that bat in as if to bunt. And once again, Papa Martin came carrying in. Martin goes back to his position. He smooths the dirt out there in front of him. Here's the windup again. 2-1 the pitch. A change of pace offering is a little bit high, and it's 3-1 on JoJo White. On that change of pace offering, this Dizzy Dean seems to jerk that ball in there. There it is. Strike two called. Powered up was plenty fast. 3-2. JoJo White, a left-hand batter, is up. Last half of the third inning, 2 outs, nobody on. The pitch. Go ahead, he says. Ball 4. That's the first pass of the afternoon. Dizzy Dean is smacking his bare hand against his glove. Oh boy. Just a little bit of temperament on the part of Dizzy. He walked halfway in toward home plate. Now he has his glove off, pulling up his trousers. And as the Cardinal infielders come in to say words of encouragement, he nods his head, holds up his bare hand, says, "Fear not, my men, fear not." Mike Cochran, the manager of the Tigers, is coming up now. Mike, you know, is a left-hand hitter. We're delayed a moment. Delancey, Cochran, and Rick Owens. They're talking something over there. Now ready to go again. JoJo White is on first. 2 men out. Cochran, the left-hand batter, is up. Dean is back on the rubber. A long stretch. Here's the pitch. Ball 1. A fastball. Cochran doesn't see him getting out of the way of that one. That Mickey Cochran must be a dancer. Old Bill Robinson never had a better quick step than that one for him. Dizzy Dean keeps it takeover. It's a base hit. A base hit to left field. Terry Michael retrieves the ball. Puts it to the third base. JoJo White stops at second. The first chance this afternoon in this World Series that the Detroit Tigers have had a real chance to let loose. And boy, the 45,000 and upwards fans here at Ravens Field certainly cut loose when Mickey Cochran thrown that ball into left field. Now we have runners on first and second. Charlie Gehringer is up, a left-hand batter. The pitch. Strike one called. Collins seeks over the back of Mike Cochran, but Cy Perkins, who was coaching at first, doesn't permit a play. He yells at Cochran, and Cochran is back fast. Here's the pitch to Gehringer. It's a foul ball. It's a base hit. A base hit to center field. One runners across the plate to forward to second. Gehringer slides into second base and is safe. JoJo White, you know, is on second base. He scored. Cochran, who was on first, went to third, and Charlie Gehringer, the batter, went to second. That was scored as a base hit for Charlie Gehringer and an error for the center fielder, or Scotty, of the Cardinals. With runners on first and second, Gehringer followed a ground ball to the center of the diamond for a base hit. That's brought in JoJo White with the first Tiger run. Mickey Cochran grounded second at top speed, way to the third base. And Ernie Orsatti, the center field of the Cardinals, fumbled the ball, getting an error, allowing Gehringer to reach second. And it is now the St. Louis Cardinals 3, Detroit Tigers 1. Runners on second and third. The last half of the third inning. 2 men out, and Big Hank Greenberg, a right-hand batter, is coming up. Dizzy Dean warms up. The pitch, strike one, swinging. Oh, what a swing that was by Hank Greenberg. He comes from way back. Oh, what a ball game now. The fans here at Detroit are just standing up. They really got the World Series third, if you please. They had to wait until the third inning. And here's the pitch again now to Greenberg. Strike 2. He swings much too late at that one. And it is strike 2 on Greenberg. Oh, I brothers get played. 3-1 in favor of the Cardinals. The Tigers have runners on second and third. The tying runs are on second and third. And Hank Greenberg is up. He has taken 2 healthy swings and missed both. Here's the windup by Dizzy Dean. The pitch. Strike three! Strike three! He swings and he misses. That's all for the Tigers in the third inning. Come in, Ford.
That's the end of the third inning of this World Series baseball game between the Cardinals and the Tigers, being played here at Navin Field, Detroit. This broadcast comes to you with the compliments of the Ford Motor Company and the Ford dealers of America. Here's what happened in that third inning. The Tigers came up with a 3-0 in favor of the Cards. Foxed at bat. A pop fly, and Collins, the first baseman, backed out on the grass back of first and was under when it came down, and there was one gone. Fowler at bat, a high boundary, bounded about 15 feet in the air. Dean came in under it, pulled it down, and winged it over to Collins, and there were 2 men gone. White came up, and Jared Dean proceeded to walk Mr. White on a free ticket down to first base. He was down there, Thompson at bat, 1 on, 2 out, and he drove one hard to the left field, sending White down to second, 2 on, Gehringer up. Gehringer singled over second, scoring White, sending Cochran down to third. Gehringer went down to second on Orsatti's error out there in center field. Greenberg came up, 2 on, 2 out. The mighty Hank Greenberg was up at bat, 2 men on base, 1 man on second and third, and proceeded to strike out, swinging hard to the third one, getting nothing but a lot of those on base trouble. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, and the score is 3-1 in favor of the Cardinals as we go into the 4th inning. Here's Tom Manning.
First half of that 4th inning, the first game of the Blue Ribbon Classic of 34 at Navin Field, Detroit, through the National Broadcasting Company. Dizzy Dean, a right-hand hitter, is up. Hits the first ball, picks the ball down third base lane, it's foul. Marlon is off with a crack of that bat and retrieves the ball, puts it into Cochran. Cochran to Greenberg to Crowder. And Dizzy Dean walks slowly back to the batter's box, picks up the bat, and again he is taking that long, sweeping, soft swing as he prepares to be ready for the next pitch. The windup, and here it is. Hits the ball. The third ball is low outside. Dizzy Dean steps back, and now the count is ball 1 and strike 1. First half of the 4th inning. St. Louis Cardinals 3, Detroit Tigers 1. Here's the pitch, 1-1 on D. He swings. It's a long drive to deep left field in the left field corner. Gosling going back on the line, and he has it. A nice back by Keith Gosling. Way over the extreme left field corner, right on the line. Boy, Dizzy Dean smacked that one right on the nose. He was almost to second base. Dizzy thought that one was out of the park, but he just smiled to the fans, tipped his hat, and walked back slowly. 1 man out in the first half of the 4th inning. And now we have the top of the Cardinal batting order coming up again. Pepper Martin. First time up, Pepper was out, third to first. The next time up, he reached first by Marvel and error. And now he is coming up for the 3rd time. A ball, low inside. Pepper Martin, you know, is a right-hand batter. So hits out of 2 trips to the plate. Strike. Call. Nice curve ball over the heart of the plate, and the count on Pepper Martin is ball 1 and strike 1. Jack Rothrock, the right fielder, hanging around home plate. The pitch. It's a ball. Fastball was blowing outside. Now the count is ball 2 and strike 1 on Pepper Martin, 3rd tracker of the St. Louis Cardinals. First half of the 4th inning. 1 out. Nobody out. Here it is. Pepper Martin attempts to bunt. The ball hit home plate, bounded up and hit Pepper Martin in the ribs, but the umpire has called it only a foul, and it's strike 2. Ball 2 and strike 2. That time Pepper Martin attempted to cross Marvel and up by dumping the bunt down the 3rd baseline. But his bat was just a little bit over the ball, and it hit the rubber and bounded right up at the hitter. 2-2, the pitch. Ball 3. Curveball is low outside. Cochran digging it out of the dirt. And the count on Pepper Martin. Ball 3 and strike 2. First half of the 4th inning. The Cardinals 3, the Tigers 1. 1 gone, you know, and nobody out. Here's the windup. 3-2 it is. The pitch. Strike 3, swinging. That was nice work on the part of Mike Cochran. A tip ball that Cochran was able to hold. So it's a strikeout for Pepper Martin. 2 out and nobody on. Jack Rothrock is coming up. That's the first strikeout for Crowder. Rock is up. Strike call. Rock pulled away from the plate on that one, but apparently the ball was over the inside corner. Here's the windup again. 2 outs. Nobody on, you know. Change of face offering is a foul up and back. Strike 2. First half of the fourth inning, you know. 2 men out and nobody on. First game of the World Series of 1934. Here's the pitch. Another change of face offering. Seemed like it took a full minute to get up there. It was too high. And the count on Rock is strike 2 and ball 1. Here it is. Very high infield fly. Near third base with Owen Rogel. Deciding Owen is under it, and Owen takes it, behind the Cardinals in the first half of the fourth inning. Come in for it.
At the end of the fourth, for the Cards, the score is 3-1. Dean came up first, and Dean laid into that ball, swinging hard, and the ball rode way high, far and wide. With Goslin chasing over, it looked impossible to get over that. He went over on the line and made a wonderful catch and brought that entire 17,000 feet. Those people out there in that left field picture section up to their feet, praising that wonderful catch that Goose Goslin made off Dean's long drive into left field. Martin then came to bat. He went down on a strikeout. The third was a tip foul. It went into Gosslin's glove, and 2 men were gone. Nobody on, and Jack Rothrock, who bats and throws right, was up there at bat. He came up in the Boston Red Sox and rated it a regular into the broken leg, and apparently was through, but came back strong and was purchased by the Cardinals from Columbus during the winter. He played 125 games and hit 350 with Columbus. Got away to a great start. Won his Spurs. Rothrock went out on a fly, and here we are with Goose Goslin after the Tigers in the last half of the fourth. All right, Tom Manning.
Strike. It's a strike. Oh, Goslin is a left-hand batter. Dizzy Dean, right-hand pitcher in the box for the Cardinals. Here's the wind-up again. Goslin bats from left-hander. Oh, the curveball was high outside, and the count on the Goose is well run and strike 1. Goose told me this morning all the folks down New Jersey are all tuned in this afternoon. All have their fingers crossed for the success of their native son, Goose Goslin. Fastball is inside. Goslin steps back, raising both arms into the air, and it is ball 2 and strike 1. Graham McNamee sitting here just marveling at this dizzy Dean. It's the first time you've seen him, Graham?
No, it's long a few times during the year, Tom.
Oh, here's a pitch, isn't it? Next pitch, it's a call strike, and the count is 2-2. Goose Goslin, left-hand hitter, you know. Last time up, the Goose single. It's a foul up and back. The count on Goslin remains ball 2 and strike 2. Little old scramble over there for that one, and somebody got that ball. There'll be no more World Series for that little apple. Probably have a long, comfortable winter, and somebody struck a goal. 2-2. Here it is. Goslin hitting. It's a ball too high. Goslin was all set to take a whale at that one, but it was a little bit too high, and now the count is 3-2. Ball 3 and strike 2, the last half of the fourth inning. St. Louis of the National League 3. The Tigers of the American League 1. Dean winds up. There's a ground ball. Right hop to Frankie Fish. Fish to Collins. Goslin is out. 1 gone. Frankie Fish is all set for that one. Took the ball on a nice third hop, up high, and tossed it over very gently to Rip Collins at first. Now we have 1 man out. And Billy Rogel, veteran shortstop of the Tigers. Left-hand hitter is up. He's a switch hitter. He bats from left or right-handed. Ball 1. After Dizzy Dean let that ball go, he yelled, "Oh, golly." Well, it was gentlemen anyway. Rogel is up. Ball 1. The pitch. The high fly out to short left center field. Joey Ledrick coming in. He's under it and has it. Ledrick came in from left field, heavy short, left center, and took that high fly on Billy Rogel. 2 men out. Nobody on. Last half of the fourth inning. Bob Owen is up. Last time up, Owen struck out. He got the right-hander. Took the first ball, pitched a high fly, short, right field, quick backing up. They're all coming in almost to anything but big hits under the ball and takes it. Rock, who was a fast runner, came in fast after that. Collins and Fritz were backing up, but finally Fritz took the ball, and Jack Rock whirled around on his feet and barely avoided a collision. That's all for the Tigers in the fourth inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. Fourth.
The Goose came up there, and the Goose was batting cagey, and so was Dean pitching to him the same way. The count ran up to 3-2, and he banged one down to Frankie Brace, who took it, made a nice toss over to Collins, and the Goose retired to the dugout. One out in the fourth for the Tigers. The score 3-1 against them. Rogel came up to bat next. Rogel, the shortstop for the Tigers. He banged a fly into short left center. Medwick came in very fast, and the Ducky boy was under it for the out, making a pretty catch, coming in fast and hard from his position. Two men gone, and Marv Owen, the third sacker for the Tigers, was at bat. He drove a fly into short right, and Frankie Frisch went up, stopped very fast in position. Rothrock was coming in. It looked for a moment as if they were going to stumble. Frisch did lose his cap on that. He went out after it and was under it for the third out, retiring the side. 1, 2, 3, Goslin, Rogel, and Owen. No runs, no hits, no errors, and we go into the fifth inning with the St. Louis Cardinals leading over the Detroit Tigers 3-1. Tom Manning, come in here. Here is the Cardinals up at bat with Frankie Frisch, the first man up there. Here you are, Tom.
Frankie Frisch knows the left-hand batter, Crowder, and Cochran form the Tiger battery. A strike call. That was a nice fastball over the inside corner on Frankie Frisch. The pitch, he swings. It's a long drive to right field. Fox is going back to the barrier, and he is under it and has it. That ball was just about 3 feet from the barrier in deep right field. One man out. Now we have Joey Medwick coming up. Medwick, you know, is also a long-distance hitter. Joe has some tape around his right wrist this afternoon. First pitch to Medwick, a ball up and back, right. Joey Medwick has 2 hits out of 2 trips to the plate. 2 out of 2. First half of the fifth inning, 3-1 in favor of the Cardinals. The pitch, it's a ball. Third ball is high inside, and the count on Joey Medwick is ball 1 and strike 1. First half of the fifth inning, 1 out, and nobody out. The pitch, the long drive deep into left center field, back, going, high into the bleachers, out in left field, and it is a home run for Joey Medwick, the little left fielder of the St. Louis Cardinals. Goose Goslin was off with a crack of the bat, but there seemed to be no doubt in his mind. He ran out the screen barrier in left field, but the ball was over the fence for a home run. And now, it is 4-1 in favor of St. Louis. Here it is. 0-1. That was a smash by Joey Medwick, and now we have Collins up. That's the first extra base smash of the series. Strike call. Ball 1, strike 1. Collins, you know, is also a home run hitter, having hit 35 this year. The hook ball is outside, and it's ball 2 and strike 1. General Sauer, you know, is in the box for Detroit. Ball 2 and strike 1. Collins is up. 1 out, and nobody on. Here it is. Strike. Swinging. What a cut he took at that one. Wheeled all the way around. And now the count is ball 2 and strike 2. The catcher, Delancey, hanging around home plate. It's a foul back. The count remains 2-2. First half of the fifth inning. St. Louis Cardinals of the National League 4. Tigers of the American League 1. Starter in the box for the Tigers. Cochran behind the bat. Collins up 2-2. The pitch. Change of pace. Ball is outside, and the count is 3-2 on Collins. 3-2. 1 out, and nobody out. Here it is. Ball 4. He left. That was a fast ball inside, and it was plenty high. Mike Cochran has just pointed over toward the Tiger dugout now. Perhaps wants someone to go down to warm up. No one has come out of there yet. Well, we have Delancey, the catcher, coming up. Delancey is the left-hand batter. Strike, ball. Crowder had a curve ball over the heart of the plate that time. Now we have Collins on first, you know. One man out. And Delancey, the catcher, is up. There's a high fly out to center field. JoJo White coming in a few paces under it, and he has it. Two men out. Collins is on first. Ernie Orsatti coming up. Orsatti, you know, the center field of the Cardinals is the left-hand batter. Ready to go, you know, two men out. Collins is on, and the pitch. It's a called strike. General Crowder bent that one over the inside corner. Done about now. First we've had since the game started. The pitch. It's a ball. Fast ball was too high, and the count, ball one, strike one. Ernie Orsatti is up there, a left-hand batter. Two men out, first half of the fifth inning. Cardinals 4, Tigers 1. The stretch. It is. He swings, and it's a base hit to the left field. Collins was off with a crack of that bat, but Ducharme retrieves the ball, whips it into Billy Roquel, and Collins is held at second base. That's the second hit of the afternoon for Ernie Orsatti. Base hit, wide to center, and now he has singled again. 2 hits out of 3 times up. That brings Rio DeLosa up. Cardinals shortstop, a right-hand batter. Put up twice before, both times hitting fly balls to Fox to White in center field. Here's the pitch. Ball one. The third ball was inside. First half of the fifth inning. 2 out. Runners on first and second. Collins on second, Orsatti on first. DeLosa up the pitch. The high fly out towards center field. JoJo White moving over into left center is under it, and he has it. That is all for the Cardinals in the first half of the fifth inning. And here is what happened. Frankie Fish was first up. He hit a fly ball to Fox in left field. Joey Medwick got a hold of a fast one and parked it about 10 rows up into the left field bleachers. A fine souvenir for somebody. Collins, with a count 3-2, he walked. Delancey fly it out to White in center field. Ernie Orsatti got his second hit of the afternoon. A single to left. Collins was held at second base. DeLosa then hit a fly ball to center field, retiring the side. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 base on balls, and no errors. And so we've won the last half of the fifth inning. The St. Louis Cardinals 4, Detroit Tigers 1. Radio friends, this first game of the World Series is being sent to you from the press box at Navin Field. We're up in the third balcony, and this is Tom Manning speaking. We've had the pleasure of describing the play-by-play of the first 4.5 innings, and it is a real pleasure now, too, that we turn the microphone over to a Ford Bond of New York, who will give you the play-by-play description of the remaining innings of this ball game. With pleasure, Ford Bond.
Thank you, Tom. Bill Dean's been warming up Delancey down here. Now here's Pete Fox, the right fielder of the Tigers in there, swinging his bat. He's winding up. Here's the pitch. It shoots in. He swings hard, and it's 1 strike on the batter. 1 strike on Pete Fox right here in the last half of the fifth inning. It's 4-1 against the Tigers. Pete Fox is up there. He's winding up. He shoots it in, and he drives one high up, fly out into short right. Frank first, and Collins will pull back, and he goes out. Collins takes it just outside the foul line, and there's 1 gone. Trace and Collins and Rothrock were all coming after that ball. They were sure that one of them was going to get it, and Collins tossed the white soft line out there many yards behind first base for the out. And there's 1 out, and General Alvin Crowder, the next man, due up the plate. He's made no appearance down there for the moment. Delancey and Brick Owens are both looking over towards the Tigers' dugout to see where Mr. Crowder is. 1 gone. There's 1 gone here in the last half of the fifth. Finally, Crowder comes out swinging a couple of bats with his right arm. Now he sees him over his left and swings him over his shoulder. I believe we're going to have a Joe Jack. Joe Jack is coming in to bat for General Crowder. That means we'll have a new pitcher. Joe Jack. is taking the place of Crowder. He's an outfielder. Distinguished himself in the minor league. He's going to bat for Crowder here. He's coming up there now. That was what the wait was for. Dolzak taking his place at the plate now, and Dean with the both arms hanging down to his side. He's looking at the signal. He finally goes up, winds up, shoots it in, and it's a ball. Low to the outside to a right-handed batter. Dolzak picks up his Crowder, takes over his bat again. Here's the pitch. And it's a called strike. Rick Owens runs up his hand and says it's a strike, Mr. Dolzak. And it's 1-1 on Frank Dolzak, who's come in here to bat for Crowder. Here's the pitch. He winds up, shoots it in, and it's a drive deep out into center field. Orsatti's waving that it's his, and he has it as Ross runs over, gets there just about the same time the ball does. Orsatti has it, and his two men are gone. Dolzak batted for Crowder, which brings Johnny Joyner White, Jojo White, center fielder of the Detroit Tigers, up to bat. He's out there now, knocking the dirt out of the field cleat. Goes over, hits his bat, a big black willow down on the home plate. Looks out toward Dizzy Dean, swings his bat, flying it out just a bit. Dizzy Dean takes the ball, takes that wind up of his, shoots it down across the plate, and it wasn't quite across the plate. He was outside to a left-handed batter. And it's a ball. Ball one on Jojo White. Again, he cracks down on the rubber, brings his bat up. Here's the pitch. Going inside, and it's ball two. Ball two. Joyner White at bat. His team gets the ball back to Mr. Delancey. Infield is kicking dirt around out here while his team looks into Delancey, taking the signal from him. Takes his head. Yes, that's all right. Winds up, and it's strike two. Strike one, ball two. Ball two and strike one. All strike on Joyner White. Jojo White. Here's the pitch. He winds up. And it's 3 balls, 3-1. Joyner White and his team walked in, showing he's a little bit put out about that third ball. 3-1 is the count on the batter. And here comes the whole Cardinal infield in the top doing. First, Andrew Frankie Trace and Leo DeRocher walked in. They're followed now by Rip Fallon and Kevin Martin. Here turns around, stops finally to Rip Fallon. The others gone back to their places. And Rip turns around, stops out to his place. Off first base there, turns his attention again to the batter. Counts 3-1. 2 out. And he gets a left. Ball right outside and wide. Joyner White down on first base. 2 men out. And Gordon Stanley Mickey Cochran, the manager and the catcher, bats left and throws right. He's up there at the plate with 1 on. 2 out. Here in the last half of the fifth, the score 4-1 against his team. Mickey Cochran's up there at the plate. He doesn't bother about hitting love the time being. Looks over what comes in, and it's a called ball. A little high. Dead center, but high, and it's a ball on Mickey Cochran. Joyner White down on first. That's the picture in the last half of the fifth inning. 4-1 favor the Cards. Here's the pitch. It wheels over, and it's a called strike. 1-1. It wheels right over the heart of the plate. He got it right down the alley, and Mickey wasn't looking for it there. And it's a called strike. 1-1. 2 men down. Joyner White on first. He takes a little lead off. Just look at him over his shoulder. But shoots it in, and down the right field, but it went foul. That wind seemed to catch it and shoot it over. It's a long strike into the right field bench, and it curved in down there almost out of the bench. It was a hard hit ball, and Joyner White comes back, driving across the down to his place at first base, and Mickey again stepped into the batter's box. It's 1-2. 1-2 at the long strike. Mickey steps up there again. He's back resting on his shoulder, looking hard down at his Dean. Takes a couple of swings. Dean has his shoulder now turned to the plate. Glancing just a little bit over Joyner White. He's taking his lead off there. He shoots it down, and Mickey swings at it. Drives it downward. First takes it, shoots it over to Fallon. And there's a man down on second, and there's nobody down there now. It's 3 out, and they retire. And the Cardinals come in the bat, and here's Tom Hanks tell you what happened that inning. Pete Cox was first up in the final half of the fifth, and he fouled off to Rip Collins. Collins had to go quite a ways back for that one. Dolzak. Then was centered to bat for General Carver. With the count 12-1, first one, he tried deep to Ernie Orsatti. Orsatti came over nice in the right center. Two to take that drive. Jojo White came up, and
After getting a count of 3-1, he left. Manager Mike Cochran gave the fans a bit of a thrill when he got a hold of one of Dean's crosswinds and drove it deep into right field. The fans sort of spread out there until they reached the far line in the extreme corner. The ball was in for a foul. Cochran then counted out 6 to Collins. No runs, no hits, 1 base on balls, no errors. It looks as though football Marbury will be the next pitcher that is not official. However, up to now, at the end of 5 innings, here is a summary of what the pitchers have done so far. Dizzy Dean has allowed the Tigers 1 run, 4 hits, and the Tigers have been the recipients of 2 bases on balls. Salters allowed 4 runs, 6 hits, and issued 1 base on balls. The only extra base hit of the afternoon is that long home run into the left field pitches by Joey Medley. There is no official now. Football Marbury. You all remember that grand gentleman of baseball, Marbury. For several years, during the pennant-winning days of the Washington Senators of the American League, times without number, he came in from deep into the bullpen to save one of his comrades who were falling in the pitcher's box. Once again, he is in that role, relief role, as they call it, here in the first game of the World Series. Football Marbury, that big husky right-hander, formerly of Washington, now with the Detroit Tigers, is to take up the pitching. He's a right-hander, and the first half of the 6th inning has 4 bonds.
Marbury in there, Disney at bat, shoots over an offering, and it's inside off the plate corner, inside corner to a right-handed batter, and it's 1 ball on Disney, who incidentally batted 246 during the season. Marbury winds up, here's the pitch, and he swings hard, and it's 1-1 on a swing at the offering of Purple Marbury. We come in there to relieve his Thomas Crowder, was taken out for a hitter. Swings it in, and he tries one. It's a single out, but deep between the center fielder and the left fielder. It's good for 2 bases. He went in there. It looked like a single. Looked like the fielder would get over after it. But Dean gets a 2-base hit, and he's down on second. Nobody out. And Pepper Martin coming up to the plate to face the new Tiger pitcher. The umpire has called time for the moment, waving his arms, and the trainer runs out the dugout with the big Cardinal colored windbreaker for this team who just hasn't gotten that nice 2-bagger. He drove it hard between White and Goose Goslin out there in deep left center. Looks like they get a hold of it, shoot it in, and King traveled down to second before anything could be done about it. A 2-base hit for him, and the next man due up is John L. Martin. That's Jubilee's name. He's mostly called Pepper to find out what the man's real name is. He came to the Cardinals to Houston for him in 1928. Was farmed out for a time, but in 31 he came back, landed a regular job on the regular World Series. You remember the story? He's up there at bat now. He's hammered on second. Nobody out here in the first half of the 6th inning. He swings hard the first offering, and it's 1 strike. He collected with a lot of air on the end of his bat there. There's 1 strike on Pepper Martin. The score is 4-1 in favor of St. Louis here in the first half of the 6th inning. Dizzy Dean down on second, takes a little lead off. Marbury turns around, looks down at him. Turns his head to the batter, and he drives one hot over second base out into center field. White retrieves it. Here's Dean comes on in. The throw in is from White to Marbury, who got over to second base at the throw in there. And now Marbury's walked in, talking to Mickey Cochran. Pepper Martin is down there on first. His team came in with a run on his single out there. Right retrieved it, sent it in. Now Marbury's taking his place back in the back. Cochran has put his cap back on and getting ready to adjust his mouth. And we're looking for Jack Rothrock. Jack Rothrock to come to bat. And on first, nobody out. Run in the first half of the 6th inning for 4-1 in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals. He gets up there now into the batter's box, and he bunts one down to third. The pitcher retrieves, shoots it over to first, and he's out. The man going down on a nice sacrifice. Man down on second. Pepper Martin. Rothrock sacrificing his Thomas down. 5-1 on the home run in favor of the Cardinals. 5-1 in favor of the Cardinals. That homer in the 5th, and this side in here in the 6th. It's 5-1, and we have Frank Free, manager and second baseman, at the plate with Pepper Martin down on second, 1 out. Pitch and a strike on Mr. Briggs. Strike one. He's up there again. Now Marbury has it up there. Looks around at Martin on second. A pop up out into way out off the foul line in left field. The third baseman goes back there and he's under it. Owen making a sweetheart of a catch out there. He went back fast. Lost his cap in the process. Seaver came back in, and the crowd gives him a nice hand for a beautiful catch going out fast under that pop foul of Frankie Briggs. Out there way back of third, over towards the left field grandstand. A beautiful catch by Marboy. So now it's 2 out. Man on second, Pepper Martin, and Joey Medwick. Joey Medwick, you up at bat, who isn't a pleasant comer to get up there to the home plate to any pitcher at any time. Much less than as a man on second. Here's Joey Ducky Medwick at bat. Swinging that ball, he bats right. He swings hard and falls to the ground. He swung so hard at that offering of Marbury, who takes it out nonchalantly. Jim goes back, walks around the pitcher's mound, rubbing the ball and looking at Pepper Martin down on second. 5-1 in favor of the Cards here in the first half of the 6th inning. Here's the offering. He fouls it back high into the upper tier back of home plate. New ball is given by Big Owen to Cochran, who throws into Marbury, and Purple is wiping it off out there, getting it in the condition that he likes to pitch it. Has a big number 11 written on the back of that pretty white Tiger uniform. Comes in, walks in, throws the rubber, looks around at Pepper Martin on second. He's taking a big lead. Wind up shoots it across a slow ball. A nice change of pace. It came in, but it was wide, and it's called ball 1. 1-2 is the count on Joe Ducky Medwick. And on second base, 2 out. Score 5-1 favor of the Cards. Marbury's watching Martin bat, turns around, shoots it in, but it was low, and it's ball 2. Low and wide of the plate to a right-handed batter. Marbury gets the ball back, drops his glove down onto his wrist, everything hanging there by the strap, wipes the ball off, comes in, looks both ways, throws the rub with his right foot, looks back at Martin, and makes an offering to swing just for the instance if he would, but nothing's happened about it. And Martin wasn't alarmed. Nobody was coming in there to the second base. And he knew all about it. He turns his head to the batter, shoots in, and it's again it's a high foul. Mickey Cochran knocks his knife off. Goes into the stand. He can't get it. So another ball comes into the ball game. Marbury has it. He's having to wipe off a lot of balls out here to get him into the condition he likes to pitch them. And Marbury looks around there at Martin again, who's gone back to the second track there, standing on it. Neither Bill Rogel nor Charlie Gerrans are paying any attention to it. They're watching to see what Joe Medwick does down there. He swings hard, drives a liner into right field. It's a Hoffman, and the runner comes in. Pepper Martin crosses the plate on the throw-in, ahead of the throw-in. He slid in. It wasn't after he could have gotten it. The ball sailed out the box into another run-in. Now 6-1 on the single. It's Joe Medwick drove into right field. A line drive out there which hit short of what anything that Pete Fox could do about it. And there are 2 runs in this inning. Now Medwick is down on first. 2 out, 2 runs in, and James Rip Collins. James Rip Collins of the Cardinals. First baseman at bat, always a dangerous man. Thomas told you a couple of times this afternoon that he has hit 35 homers during this 1934 season. Here's the pitch, it wings in, and it's a ball 1. Wide of the plate to a left-handed batter, outside. Rip Collins up there. Medwick down on first. He starts down for second, and they hit nice hit and run. Drives it hard on the ground out into right field. And he's safe on first, and Medwick is safe on third. He slid in there. He was way ahead of it. It wasn't necessary, but he hit the dirt anyhow. And there's a man on first and third. 2 out and 2 runs in on Rip Collins' single. He was off with the pitch. Nice hit and run, and they worked it, getting hold of that ball and driving out into right. The umpire down on second base. Umpire Geisel throws his arms into the air, and there's a time here for the moment. All the players now, with the exception of Hank Greenberg and Charlie Gerrans, have walked in to talk to Fred Marbury, and he's leaving the mound. He's leaving the mound, and we'll have another Detroit pitcher here. No one out on the warm-up mound, but here comes a pitcher running in. We can't see who it is. He just came down the runway. just see who it is. Walking in with a big windbreaker. Guy taking off now. Throwing it down to the bat boy. To tell you who it is just a moment, who's going to replace Marbury there in the box here in the 6th inning with a score 6-1 against them of his first ball game here at Navin Field of the 1934 World Series. It looks like Fisher, but we can't identify him for the moment. Our first here high. Elon Hogsett, the Indian, has come in. Elon Chester Hogsett, the left-handed pitcher, has come in to replace Marbury here in the 6th inning. Hogsett replacing Marbury in the 6th inning with a score 6-1 against them. 6-1 in favor of the Cardinals. Rip Collins is on first. Joey Medwick on third. 2 out. And 2 runs in here in this inning. Hard half of the 6th inning, the first up. Hogsett goes over and takes hold of the rosin bag, wipes his hands off on it, turns around and tosses one over to Greenberg for another set of warm-up. And he turns his attention to the batter, who is William Delancey, catcher of the Cardinals. He swings hard, drives it way out, high into left field, over Goose's head. It bounds against the fence. It's good for 2 bases, and he scores the runners. He's now held at second on the throw-in, and both Medwick and Rip Collins come in on that 2-bagger of Phil Delancey. A hard drive over Goose's head. So now it's 8-1 in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals here in the first half, the 6th inning of the first ball game of the 1934 World Series. Ernie Orsatti follows into the plate. He's up there already taking position in the batter's box. Elon Hogsett finally gets the ball back. He wipes his hands off on the rosin bag, takes hold of the ball again. Phil Delancey down on second, 2 out. 4 runs in this inning. Swings, and here's the pitch, and it's a call strike right straight over, and a 31 buck. Orsatti wasn't looking for that sign right here at the moment, and the ball goes back to Mickey Cochran, the pitcher. Winds up, shoots it in, he swings hard at it, it's a grounder down to the second baseman, Charlie Gehringer, and he's out at first. Gehringer to Greenberg. Out at first, Gehringer to Greenberg. 4 runs in that inning, and here's Tom Manning to tell you a resume of how those 4 runs happened. All right, Tom.
Boy, that was really an inning. Dizzy Dean was first up. After he was razzed for missing one by the crowd, he just shook it off and then got a hold of one and doubled to left field. Pepper Martin singled to center, and Dean scored. He almost missed that third base bag over there. Bob Owens and umpire Reardon had a bit of a conference, and the umpire thought that size 9Q or better of Dizzy Dean is just next to cushion. Rothrock laid down a sacrifice. Marbury to Greenberg. Quick, fouled out to Owens. This was the outstanding fielding play of the day. A great running catch, almost 40 yards from third base to Bob Owens. The Tiger third backer went to get him. Joey Medwick then came up and with a count 2-2, he singled to right field, scoring Pepper Martin. That was Medwick's 4th hit of the afternoon. 3 singles and a homer. That great day's work for anybody. Collins then gave perfect execution of the hit-and-run play, single to right field. Medwick went to third. Hogsett replaced Marbury, a left-hander. Delancey doubled against the barrier in deep left field, high over Gosling's head. Medwick and Collins scored. That was fine splitting on the part of Collins, making it 8-1. Orsatti then bounded out. Gehringer to Greenberg. So at the end of 5.5 innings, the St. Louis Cardinals of the National League 8, Detroit Tigers of the American 1. The last half of the 5th and 4th ball.
The last half of the 6th, Tom, just to correct you on a number there for the moment. We have Charlie Gehringer up at the plate for the Tigers here in the last half of the 6th. Here's Dean is looking him over. Here's the pitch, and it's a strike. Gehringer down there at the plate hoping to do something here. They're trailing by 8-1 as they go into the last half of the 6th. Gehringer first man up here for the Tigers in this half of the inning, and the ball sails over, and it's strike 2. Strike 2. Delancey waves the signal down to Dizzy Dean, walks out, holds up his hand, signals him what the umpire has called it, confirming it so that Dizzy will know exactly where he is in relation to the batter. He winds up, shoots it in, and it's a low one, and a ball. A ball on the batter. Winds up and gets another one in, and ball 2 and strike 2. 2-2 on Mr. Charlie Gehringer there. Jizzy Dean winds up, shoots it in. He whams it down to first base. First baseman, and he tosses it over to the pitcher. Dean coming over to Rip Collins. Rip Collins knocks the ball down, picks it up, and Dean coming over fast at the toss on him. Got there just barely ahead of Charlie Gehringer, who was pretty fast on those pins of his, and there's one gone. That's always a beautiful play on the ball diamond. When the ball drives down, goes to first baseman. The pitcher comes over, crosses the plate, taking a throw from the first baseman who has gotten it from the batter. It's always a pretty one when it's executed right. And it had to be executed fast then because it was a hot drive which he knocked down. Here's Hank Greenberg up at bat. Here's a pitch. The drive over second base. A line drive. And Dave Marsati had it. He shoots out, but not quite. The ball bounds off. It shoots it in to second base. And he escaped at second. It scored as a hit and an error. A hit and an error. He came in fast for that ball awfully hard. It bounded up just about a yard in front when he was trying awfully hard to get it. Hit him in the chest, bounded off the edge, chased it. And Hank Greenberg is down on second on a hit and an error on center field, Ernie Orsatti. Hank Greenberg is on second, one out. And Goose Goslin, Leon Allen Goose Goslin, left fielder of the Tigers at bat. He bats left, bats left-handed, but throws right, you know. Here's the pitch, and he swings hard, goes clear down on one knee, turns clear around. If he'd gotten a hold of that one, it certainly would have gone places. He gave it all the heft that he has, and believe me, Goose had plenty of heft. We were talking to him last night, and he was talking about what big things he hopes to do in the series. All of them want to do that. Their hopes, and he swings hard again and misses the ball, getting nothing but a lot of air on the end of his bat for his trouble. Goose and all the boys on these two teams, great fellows, and anxious and hopeful for what they can all do in the series. Hank Greenberg on second, one out, strike 2 on the batter, Goose Goslin in the batter's box. Dean again takes that lazy stance, takes the wriggle from Delancey, makes the stretch, winds ahead, and it shoots in, and a little easy one down it. It gets between the shortstop and third baseman, and Hank Greenberg comes in and scores. Either one up to get to it, and it's a single for Goose Goslin. Both of them tried hard, both Theo DeRocher and Pepper Martin, both of them trying to get to that ball, but it was just him crossing. A hit for Goose, scoring Hank Greenberg in second, and that makes the score 8-2 here in the last half of the sixth in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals. William Rogel, Billy Rogel is at bat next. Wears the big number 7 on his back, the white Tiger uniform. The Cardinals in their Euro uniform, the light gray with the red figures. The Cardinals. There's the pitch to Rogel, man on first. And he drives one, hot down to the second baseman. Then shoots it over to first. The man is out. There was no time to make a double on that. There's just barely had time to get that ball and get it over Rip Collins to get the man out. That first, there's 2 gone with Goose Goslin down on second, and they run in. 2 men out, score 8-2 in favor of the Cardinals. Just time for Chris to get that one over to Collins to get Joe Rogel out. So we have Marvin Owen. Marvin Owen, who this year is at 321. He's driven in 88 runs. He's been doing a lot of good batting during the season. He's up there at the plate now. He bats right. Also, he's right-handed around the pitch, and it's a ball on Mr. Marvin James Owen, the third batter of the Tigers. And on second, 2 out. Ball 1 on the batter. Here's as a signal. He winds up as a catch in the pitch, and it comes over, and it's a called strike. Umpire Brick Owen does that right hand up and out in the gesture of the strike. It's 1-1 on the batter. Marvin Owen in the batter's box. Man on second base. Here's Goslin. Here's the pitch. He swings hard, but gets nothing for his trouble, and it's 1-2. Ball 1 and strike 2 on the batter. 2 out. 1 run in. 8-2 favor the Cardinals. Here's Dean again, looks in. He has a very lazy stance and takes that signal and winds up, makes the stretch, and it's a foul. Back of the plate, looping into the first here. Delancey walks about 8 or 9 feet in front of the home plate before he delivers the ball back to his team. Goose Goslin down on second, taking a lead of about 5 yards off the base. Looking around, see if anybody's paying any attention to him. He views that shortstop at second base is coming after him. A swing, a hard swing, And here's at the batter, Fool, striking out Marvin Owen, and the side is retired. The score 8-2 in favor of the Cardinals. The end of the 6th inning. Here's Tom Manning to give you a resume of the Tigers half of the 6th.
Tiger half of the 6th. 1 run, 2 hits, and no errors. 1 error, rather. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error. Geringer is out Collins to Dean. Greenberg singled. He took second on Orsatti's error. Orsatti tried a two-swing catch then, and he was given an error. Goslin singles to left field, scoring Greenberg, making it 8-2. Vogel is out switched to Collins. Goslin went to second. Bob Owen struck out. So at the end of 6th inning, St. Louis Cardinals 8, Detroit of the American League 2. You know, folks, the Ford Motor Company, folks, at the crowds that are listening in at the showrooms of Ford dealers throughout the United States and Canada, as well as everywhere else, are enjoying this game. It is coming to you from Navin Field, Detroit, the first game of the Blue Ribbon Classic of 1934. The first 2 games here at Navin Field in Detroit, and the next 3, if necessary, in St. Louis. Going into the first half of the stretch inning, and here is Ford Bond.
Elon Hogsett, who leaves Marbury, who had previously taken Crowder's place after Crowder was pulled out for a pinch hitter. Hogsett is taking place in the box, and the Cardinals are up with Leo DeRocha, the shortstop. First man up there in the 7th inning to start it off. He's at bat, taking place in the box. There's the pitch, and it sails in and is called. The ball is wide to a right-handed batter, wide outside of the plate. Mickey Cochran keeps it back out to Elon. He takes it, winds up. Here's the pitch, and he drives one down to the shortstop. Let's leap into the air, pull it down. Rogel begs it over to Greenberg, and the man is out. That ball took a bad down, and Bill Rogel gets a nice hand from the fan for leaping in the air, steering that ball after it made a bad down. Man is out at first. Rocha retires to the dugout, and here comes Jerome H. Dizzy Dean up to the plate. Just 23 years old, and the amazement of the Major League. This man, Dean, who won 30 games, lost 7 in this past season. He comes up there, takes his place in the box. Elon Hogsett turns his entry. He has his hands behind, both hands behind his back. That's the kind of a pose he assumes and taking the signal from Cochran. He winds up. Here's the pitch. Then swings hard and goes down on one knee. He put all the heft he had into that one. 1 strike on the batter, swinging. Again, Hogsett winds up, comes down the alley, fouls this one off, and it goes clear high over the whole stand. And this is a high stand here in Detroit at Navin Field. Fouls it clear up over the stand. He's back down there again with strike 2 on him. Hogsett rubbing off the ball now after drying off his hands on the rosin bag. Left-hander, you know, southpaw, swings to the 4th side, winds up, drives it in, and he swings wide at that one, and he has struck out Dizzy Dean. 2 men gone here in the first half of the 7th. Dean retires the dugout, which brings John L. Pepper Martin up to the plate. Pepper Martin, leadoff man, third catcher of the Cardinals. Next man up. So far, DeRocher and Dean have been up there, and both out. And Martin is the 3rd man up for this inning. 2 out, nobody on. The score 8-2 favor the Cardinals. Here's the pitch. And it's wide, forcing him back on his knees. The batter forcing Martin back on his knees at the ball. Very wide. This man Hogsett steps out wide. Swings, round arm. Shoots the ball in, and he tried to bunt it. But he fouled it off. Hit down there around Mickey Cochran's foot. And it's 1-1. Pepper Martin. Pepper Martin goes off, wets his hands, rubs them down on the dirt, takes hold of the bat, talks his shoe, almost like Lefty O'Doul does for the moment. Steps back into the batting box. Here's the pitch. Sails in and he drives it hot down to the shortstop. Bill Rogel pegs it over to Greenberg, retiring the side. 1, 2, 3, 3 up and 3 down for the Cardinals for 7th. They lead 8-2. Here's Tom Manning to tell you how that happened.
Boy, we certainly watched 2 great plays that time. We told you about Bob Owen's play. Billy Rogel, the veteran shortstop of the Tigers, just turned in 2 brilliant plays on DeRocher, the 1st man up. Hit a ground ball down short. The ball hit something and took a nasty ball. Rogel leaped into the air, turned halfway around, came down and whipped that ball over just ahead of the screen DeRocher for a 12 play. Dizzy Dean then very nonchalantly took his exercises, 3 strikes. Dizzy doesn't do that very often. In the pitches when he's tough. But then he just went up there and swung and struck out. 2 gone. Pepper Martin then hit a smack down between the shortstop position and the second base bag. Rogel went over, came up with that ball, a hard smash, and caught the Greenberg. No runs, no hits, and no errors. Rally up for that old 7th inning stretch. Have your stretch either way. Take the stretch between the first half and the last half of the 7th when we are at either part. So if you're rooting for the Cardinals, go ahead and stretch. If you're rooting for the Tigers, go ahead and stretch. The last half of the 7th, Dizzy Dean pitch again. Here is forward. Pete boxes back. Ball comes sailing in. It's a call strike right dead over the heart of the plate. The batter wasn't ready for it, and it's a call strike on Pete Fox. The score 8-2 in favor of the Cardinals in the last half of the 7th. He swings hard. The next one drives a high one. Delancey's not going to be fast. Goes back there. The ball is a long time coming down. Comes down, plunks into the big net, and there's 1 gone. Irvin Fox, Pete Fox, the right fielder of the Tigers, is out. He retires to the dugout. After Delancey takes the ball right up, foul back of the plate. A very, very high one. Dean walks out to the pitcher's mound again. Delancey gets his mask on and just each side to a pitch comfortably over the ears. And here is Elon Chester Hodgson. Left-handed pitcher, and he bats left. He's up there to take his place in the batting order. He winds up. Here's the pitch. He tried to bunt, and he missed the ball, and it's strike 1. The bat got away from him, rolled halfway up to the pitcher's mound. He tried to bunt that one, lost his hold of the grip on the bat, and it's strike 1. Strike 1 on the batter. Hogs it. 1 out. Nobody on. Last half of the 7th. Score 8-2 favor the Cards. Ball floats over, and it's called ball 1. He was outside, way wide. Had to change of pace, but couldn't get it over the plate. 1-1 on the batter. Nobody on. He swings the next one, drives it down to the shortstop. Drew pegs it over to first. A nice fast play. The ball got there just ahead of Hodgett, and 2 men are out. 2 men are out, and Joyner White ahead of the batting order for the Detroit Tigers, the American League champions of 1934. The first game of this 1934 World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals. Joyner White is back. Score 8-2 in favor of St. Louis. 2 men out. Winds up. Here's the pitch. And it's ball very low over the plate. It's ball 1. He taps the plate. Got that big black bat of his again. He looks over the pitch. It comes sailing down, and it's a called strike. 1-1. Bickle calls it. Down there at home plate, umpiring at home today. Bill Clem's down on first. Geisel on second. Here's the third. Here's the pitch. He winds up, shoots it in, and it's ball 2. 2-1 on the batter. Dean hitches up his trousers on the right side. Then takes that lazy stance with his foot on the rubber. Looks into Delancey for the signal. Nods his head in the game. Starts that wind up. The half wind. Shoots it in, and the batter swings hard. It bounds away from the catcher. It's strike 2. 2-2. Delancey keeps the ball hard back to Dean there. Clunks into the net. And again he assumes that stance on the mound. Right foot forward. Both arms hanging lazily. White steps out of the box for the moment. Steps back to the plate. Count 2-2 on him. 2 out. Steps back up there now to face the pitcher. The wind up. And the pitch. And he fouls it high up over the stand. Back of home plate. Ball sailing high over there. Trying to get the new ball from umpire Brick Owen. Shoots it back in to Dean. Trace is out here calling encouragement to his men. Putting a lot of pepper into this infield. The outfielders move a little impatiently. Here's the pitch. It comes in and it's a call strike. He floated one over there, fooling Joyner White. And it's strike out. A call strike on Mr. White. And the side is retired. The score is 8-2. In favor of the Cardinals. All right, Tom Manning, come in. The Tiger half of that 7th inning. Pete Fox was first up, and he fouled out Delancey. That was a very high foul. Delancey went back, waited for it, and took it for the first out. Pitcher Hofstedt. Then out to Rocha to Collins. This is a fast play by Leo DeRocha, the Cardinals shortstop. And Jojo White up there with 2 strikes. And Dizzy Dean, very nonchalantly, pops in a change of pace, offering as big as a pineapple. And White let it go by for a called strike and the 3rd out. At the end of 7 innings, we find the National Leaguers, the St. Louis Cardinals, 8, and the American Leaguers, Detroit Tigers, 2. Now, as we start the 8th inning again, the Tigers have that old black ball out, tossing it around. Looks like a piece of coal. They tell me they've used that ball for warming up before each inning, practically all season. Offset to those southpaw pitchers in there for the Tigers, and manager Mike Cochran. In spite of the fact that the score is 8-2, Cochran is still in there, encouraging his men, and still fighting for this first World Series ball game. First half of the 8th inning. Come in for it.
Here's Jack Rothrock taking his place in the batter's box. He winds up. Here's the pitch. Comes over and it's a call strike. Strike one on Jack Rothrock, the right fielder of the St. Louis Cardinals here, right starting off the 8th inning, leading 8-2. Here's the pitch. Comes in, and he half swing. It tips off the bat, and it's strike two. A foul tip going high over the back into the stand. He just half swung at that one. It crossed the 50 bat. New ball goes back to the pitcher. Elon hogs it. Big Indian boy, left-hander, shoots over the plate, and it's a ball. He calls it. It was high. 1-2. Ball one and strike two. Looks around the infield and turns, winds up, and he drives one a little easy one over the second base head. It rolls out there. The right fielder receiver shoots it in. It's a single for Jack Rothrock. He caught one over to the ball. Just a looper right out there, where nobody could get to it. Nice single for Jack Rothrock. Frankie Trace comes up next. He just walks out to Bill Rogel and taking the ball from him. After the ball has come in, carrying the ball back in, looking at it. Comes and looks around at Charlie Gehringer. And finally turns his attention to Frankie Trace, who was taking his place in the batter's box. Throws the ball over to Hank Greenberg. There was no chance of getting the runner there, but he tossed it over for the moment. Jack Rothrock takes the lead. He's out the bunt. The pitcher comes in fast, retrieves it, has no time getting the second, tosses it down, and Greenberg, instead of going back to touch the plate, catches the runner on the line coming into first. Jack Rothrock down on second on the sacrifice. One out. Jack Rothrock on second. And here is Joe Medwick. Joe Medwick, a very dependable batter, up to face Elon Hogger with a man on second. The score 8-2. Hogger's taking his place back there now with his left foot on the rubber. He looks around at Jack Rothrock, who's taking the lead off second. Makes a fire long catch into the air, shoots it down, and it's a high fly out into center field. And Jojo White goes back, is under it and has it. The runner starts down to third. He makes a high throw on down to third, but it was a little wide of the bag, and he flags in safely. Jack Rothrock is down on third base. 2 out. After Joe Medwick's flag is Jojo White out in center field, which brings Rip Collins. Rip Collins, Cardinals' first backer. Next in the batting order, up to bat. Man on third, 2 out. Score 8-2 in favor of St. Louis in the start of the 8th inning. Hodges takes the ball, goes in the glove a few times, and walks over, picks up the rosin bag, drives his hand, again tunes that stand. He's had both hands behind his back, cross, looks into the signal, finally winds up, shoots the ball in. It's a bounder down to second base. Gehringer takes it, shoots it down to first, and the side is retired. All right, Tom Manning, you can tell how things happened in the Cardinals half of the 8th inning. Here's Tom Manning.
Jack Rothrock was first up, and he singles to right center. Frankie Fish laid down a pretty sacrifice and was out. Pitcher offset to Greenberg. Greenberg tagging Fish on the line. Joey Medwick then got a hold of one and drove it deep into left center field. Jojo White going back to make the catch. Jack Rothrock went to third. Collins and hit a ground ball down second base plate. Charlie Gehringer came up with it, tossed to Greenberg, retiring aside. No run, one hit, and no errors. And so we go into the last half of the 8th inning. St. Louis Cardinals of the National League are out in front, 8-2. Fuller goes to center field for the St. Louis Cardinals, replacing Ernie Orsatti. Fuller in center field for the Cardinals. Last half of the 8th inning, the manager Mickey Cochran, who backs him left-handed, will lead off for the Tigers. Come in for it.
Here's Mickey Cochran up there. Take his place. Here in the 8th inning, his team trailing 8-2. This team takes the signal, winds up, comes in, and it's a called strike. Mickey didn't offer at it. Called strike on him here in the 8th inning. But he's back there, and he takes a couple of side swings with the pitch. It comes in, and it's a ball wide of the plate outside to a left-handed batter. He throws his back throw around his head once, puts it back on his shoulder. This he winds up, shoots it in, he doesn't offer at it, and it's a ball. 2 balls, again it was wide to a left-handed batter. It's about waist high. 18 adjusts his cap, that wasn't quite to his liking. Takes that lazy stand. Delancey signaling to him. As he's standing there swinging his bat, here's the pitch. He drives it down to the shortstop, and DeRocher shoots it over to Collins, and he's out. Easy ball put across up the handle, and wrapped up in the infield. They shoot the ball around. One gone. Here in the 8th inning, the Cardinals leading 8-2. Next man up is Charlie Gehringer, sparkling second baseman of the Tigers. Takes a couple of raps at the plate. Got a big white bat. Places on his shoulder. He bats left. Here's the pitch. It's a called strike again. The first ball that comes over. Just about waist high and dead over the pan. A called strike on Charlie Gehringer, who did not offer out at all. Kept his bat on his shoulder. He looks good. Dean winds up, shoots in, tries again that change of pace. The floater coming in, and it's wide of the plate by quite a bit. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out, nobody on. Gehringer at bat, count 1-1 on him. Here's the pitch. He drives the ball far, wide, and high, way out into left center field, and Ducky Medwick came over and got it. Incidentally, we've got a change in outfield at the start of this inning. Dick Bullis. Dick Bullis replaced Arstati in the Cardinal center field. 2 men are gone, bringing Hank Greenberg up to bat again. Hank Greenberg wipes his hands in the dirt, takes hold of his bat, swinging it down towards the plate. Takes a couple of half swings with it now over the plate, and Dean is looking for that signal. He winds up with that half swing of his, shoots the ball in, and again the first ball into the batter is a called strike. Rick Owens indicating it. 2 out, nobody on. 1 strike on the batter. Here's the pitch. A called strike. He's got a one in there. He just turned it over. A fast one and a hot one right dead over the plate, and it's a called strike. Strike 2 on Hank Greenberg. 2 men out, nobody on. Last half of the 8th, the score 8-2 in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals. Hank Greenberg at bat for the Tigers. Here Dean gets the signal, winds up. It's a fast wind-up. He shoots in. That's a hard-driven ball. Way out is over into the stands for a home run for Big Hank. Another one of his specialties, and the Tiger rooters over in there getting their chance to let go of the things. A big cloud of paper, little bits of it have been let go. They're floating down outward as Hank Greenberg spots around the bases, comes in and crosses home plate, steps on it. A home run for Hank Greenberg, makes the score 8-3. He drove it high into those left field bleachers, where those 17,000 bleacher right got up and whooped over their hero Hank Greenberg, drives into their midst. Your team looking the next batter over, which is Goose Goslin. Always a dangerous man at the plate. Shoots the ball in, and the Goose fouls it high. Delancey knocks his mask off, goes back after it. It comes down and hits the screen just too far in for him to get it. It looked like it was coming down into his hands, but Delancey didn't have a chance to get to that ball, and it's strike 1 on the Goose. Nobody on, 1 run in. Score 8-3 in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals. 2 men out. Goose Goslin at bat. That's left, you know. Throws right, however. Taking his place back in there, taking a couple of style swings. There gets the signal. That short wind-up is he takes it longer this time. 2 swings, and shoots it over, and it's a strike. He swung hard, and very viciously at that ball, but got nothing to show but the amount of air which is in front of his back. It's strike 2 on the Goose. Taking his place back down there now. Look at the determination on that set chin of Goose Goslin. Wind up. Set and the pitch, and he drives it down to the shortstop. The Rocher has it, cuts it over to Rip Collins, and the side is retired. 8-3 in favor of St. Louis. As we come into the last half of the 8th, here's Tom Mann to tell you about the Cardinals half of the 8th inning. Here, come in, Tom.
Tiger half of the 8th inning, we saw Phillips going into center field for the Cardinals. Mickey Cochran was first up, and he was out. The Rocher to Collins. Charlie Gehringer, then fly to Joey Medwick. Medwick going into deep left center to make the catch. Hank Greenberg then got a hold of one and parked it high into the left field bleachers for a home run, making it 8-3. Goose Goslin then balled it out shortstop to Rocher to first baseman Collins. The Tiger half of the 8th inning, 1 run, 1 hit, and no error. So at the end of 8 innings, St. Louis Cardinals of the National League 8 and the Detroit Tigers 3. We go to the 9th inning of this first game of the World Series at Maven Field, Detroit. Pete Hoffstetter, the southpaw pitcher, is presently in the box for the Tigers, and Cochran is behind the back. First half of the 9th, and Delancey of the Cardinals is first up.
Bill Delancey, the Cardinals catcher, first up there. He's got a big bat. Got his paraphernalia off. Comes up. Here's the pitch. And it's a ball. Wide of the plate. That's left. Ball was wide and outside. The left-handed batter. Hogg just got the ball again, and the signal is the pitch. Shoots it in, he fouls it up clear into the press box. And the pressman has the ball. Is he going to return it? Well, that's the question here at the moment. Usually balls go back into the playing field, but somebody wants a souvenir of the 1934 World Series, and it stays up in the press box. New ball goes into the game. It's Bill Delancey down there in the batter's box. He winds up. There's the pitch. Shoots in, and it's strike two. He swung hard at that one, but connected with nothing at all. Goes off and wipes his hands into the dirt. Takes his place back at the box. Taps the plate. Here's the pitch. It's a ball. 3-2 on the batter. 3-2 on Bill Delancey. What'll the next one be? Always the question in the batter's mind when it's 3-2. It comes looping down. He drives it hard. It looks like it's going into the feet, but not quite. Goose goes and goes back up against the fence and takes it on the run. That ball looks like another one of those homers into those left field bleachers. So Delancey retires the dugout. There's one gone here in the Cardinals half of the ninth inning. Dick Bullitt, who has just replaced Orsatti in the eighth inning in center field for the Cardinals, is next up. Dick bats and throws right. He's taking his place down there in the batter's box now. Ball comes shooting over, and it's wide of the plate. It's a ball. Wide to and outside to a right-handed batter. One ball. Hawkins has it again. Looks over the signal, winds up, shoots it in. He drives it hot over second base, way out into center field. It's good for a single. Jojo White throws it back in. A single for Dick Bullitt. He just come into the ball game. That was his first time at bat. Leo DeRocher, shortstop. St. Louis Cardinals next up. Score 8-3. Favor of the Cardinals here in the ninth inning. First half of the ninth. DeRocher's at bat. A man on. One out. Hogg is looking well first. Turns, shoots it in, fast, and it's a foul into the Tigers' dugout. Taking two policemen and a player dog. The policeman was standing down at the end of the dugout. DeRocher's up there. Strike one on him. Man on base. One gone. Score 8-3. He has a reputation for being able to hit when it means something when there's a man on. His batting average, .258 for the season, but he got most of those when it meant something, when there's a man on base. Hogg has the ball after trying it over to Greenberg, trying to see what he could do with Mr. Bullitt. He drives it hot down to the shortstop, who strikes it to second, but there wasn't time to get it down to first. Man is out at second. Dick Bullitt and DeRocher is on first base with two outs. Dizzy Dean comes up. Dizzy Dean, and he's getting a nice hand from the fan. As he walks out of the dugout, comes sailing very slowly up to the plate, walks around back of Bickle, and then Mickey Cochran to take his place, wipes his hand in the dirt, picks up the bat again, taps the plate, and lengthens his grip on it, looks back at the pitcher. Here's the pitch. A bounder right down towards second. It's fielded by Gehringer, who runs over, steps on the second base, forcing the runner out at second. That was the ninth inning for the Cardinals, who lead 8-3, and here's Tom Manning to tell you about it. In the final half of the ninth inning, Delancey was first up. Delancey fired deep to Gosnell. That was a nice running catch by the Goose, playing over Vic Ford left center, and drives back into left field to snag that long drive. Dick Bullitt, who recently replaced Orsatti, single to center field. Here's DeRocher, then forced Bullitt, Rogel to Gehringer. And Dizzy Dean, after fouling several pitches, then forced DeRocher down at Gehringer unassisted. That was a ground ball hit very close to the second base flag. Before we go to the last half of the ninth inning, St. Louis Cardinals 8, the Tigers 3. Come in for it. Time this afternoon, now you might hear this World Series baseball game. Here we have William George Rogel. Back, and he fires off the first pitch here in the ninth inning. Driving it back on a foul into the grandstand, the upper tier. The ball sliding off the top of the bat. His team's out there looking over the signals again. He winds up. Rogel's at bat. Here's the pitch. It's a ball. Wide of the plate, and it's 1-1. Bill Rogel at bat in the ninth inning. First man up. He winds up, and here's the pitch again. Comes shooting in again. It's outside. Missing the corner, and it's ball 2. 2-1 on the batter. Ninth inning with the Cardinals leading 8-3 over the Detroit Tigers in their first game in Navin Field. Here's Jay shooting a pitch again. He swings and fouls the other one back high into the grandstand. Just left the plate. Bill Rogel steps out of the batter's box, gets back in, adjusting his cap, taps the plate. Has a big black bat over his shoulder, takes a couple of tire swings. Here's his winding up, takes a double wind up this time. Steps out of the batting box, and he's swinging that arm again. He's starting to his wind up again, takes the stretch and shoots the ball in. And with the change of pace, he drives it down over the left base, right into left field with the third baseman hat. A nice single for Bill Rogel here in the ninth inning. These Tigers have had a reputation for plenty of runs, piling onto a pitcher in the ninth, and the crowd is warming up. It's started to slide rooters here in Maven Field, trying to get hot and start a rally here in the ninth inning for their team, their wild, his favorite, favoring their hometowers. They're trying to start something. The old familiar. There's a ball. Hot drive, stop it, busy. It's down, dropping left over to the first baseman, who runs over and touches the barrel. That hit serves hard in the leg, down it right over to first. Rip Collins took it, stepped on the bag for the out. There's a man down on second now. Bill Rogel down on second. One out, one on. Pete Fox coming to bat. Bill Rogel down on second. Pete Fox, the right fielder. Well, the Tigers up there. He bats right. He's stepped in there with a determined look on his chin here in the ninth inning with his team trailing 8-3. He looks around second base and shoots one in. He swings hard, missing the ball, and it's strike one on Pete Fox. Ball goes back to Sears. Sears is watching that man on second. Either to Roach or Fraser Binghamton. There's the pitch. Comes in. It's a ball, a low one. Clancy picks it out of the dirt back of the plate. And he's taking it right down on the ground to get it out of there. 1-1. Ball one and strike one. And on, one out in the ninth inning. So 8-3. Tigers trailing. He swings hard, drives one hard down to the third base. He catches it. Catches the man coming in the third. Throws it over. A very low throw to Rip Collins. We don't know whether he scored. Which one the arrow is on the man who made the throw. It was low. He tagged Rogel. I got the man over there. There's a throw over to first, but he couldn't get the man at first, but he stopped that ball. Rip Collins stopped it. We have Ocker coming in to bat for Hodgett here in the ninth. Ocker coming in to bat for Hodgett. Man on first. 2 out. Martin did a great job driving that ball and getting the man coming in there, and then trying to wing it over to first. Here's the pitch, and it's a ball. A ball on Ocker, who has replaced Hodgson here in the ninth inning. 2 out, man on. He's pitching good. He shoots at him, and he swings hard, getting nothing for his trouble. It's 1-1. Ball one and strike one on Ocker. Ocker at the plate. We misunderstood the name from down there at the loudspeaker. Walker rather than Ocker. He drives one down, but it goes foul before it gets to first. Walker batting for Hodgson. These two men here on the Tiger team coming over the loudspeaker. The man was announced in the dugout. Walker batting. Gary Walker, Southern boy with an accent which is up for the ninth. We were talking to him. He's up there now. He bats right. Center fielder. Just looked at him hard. Turns around, looks at the man at first. Over his shoulder, shoots the ball in, and it's high. And it's another ball. It's 2-2 on Jerry Walker. Walker steps out of the box, and seeing that motion, gives off back and picks up the rosin bag. Don Chesty Whistle takes his place first, and they both step back in. Here gets the signal, makes the stretch, looks over his shoulder, shoots the ball in, and again it's wide, and it's 3-2. 3-2, 2 out, a man on first. Shots on first. Here's the pitch. He swings hard for the third strike, and the end of the ball game. Jerry Walker missing the offering of his team. The broadcast of this game has been sent to you by the Ford Motor Company, builders of Ford and Lincoln Tires and Ford Trucks. You're cordially invited to be their guest again tomorrow when the World Series battle is resumed at Maven Field. And in the meantime, watch the Fords go by. Now we'll turn the microphone over to Tom Manning. We'll give you a summary of the game and its highlights. All right, Tom Manning, come in.
For the benefit of our many friends who have just tuned in, the final score of today's first game of the World Series, the Cardinals 8, the Tigers 3. The Cardinals 8 runs on 13 hits. The Cards made 2 errors. The Tigers 3 runs, 8 hits, and 5 errors. Things went along rather smoothly in the first inning with no score. In the Cardinal half of the second inning, Delancey was out on a fly ball to Gosling. Orzani then singled to left field. Carosa was up. He was out on a fly to White. Dean then drove to O'Gell, and Orzani was safe at second base on Geringer's error. Pepper Martin then with 2 on and 2 out, hit a follow to third. He was safe at first on a wide throw. Rothrock singled to center, scoring Orzani and Dean. Martin went to third. Rothrock stopped at first. Frankie Fritz was then out. Geringer to Greenberg. The Cardinal half of the second, 2 runs on 2 hits. The Tigers made 2 errors. Then we hop over to the first half of the third inning. Joey Medwick led off with a single past third base. Collins rounded out. Medwick went to second. O'Gell threw badly and took another error. Carosa then safe at first on Greenberg's error, and Collins scored all the way from second, making a beautiful stride just ahead of the throw at home plate. Orzani then tries to right field. Carosa tries to top. The Cardinal half of the third, which put them 3 runs ahead of the Tigers. 1 run on 1 hit, and 2 more errors for the Tigers. The Tigers scored their first run in the last half of the third. Sauter was first up. He was out, steaming to Collins. White left. Ricky Cochran singled. After the count, was down to 3 and 2. He singled to left field. White went to second. Geringer singled, scoring White. And it made the score 3-1 at the end of 3 innings. No more scoring then until the Cards came back in the first half of the 6th inning. Medwick then got a hold of one and drove it high into the left field bleachers for a home run. Collins, after getting a count of 3 and 2, he left. DeRocher then flies to White. Orzani singles to left field. Collins went to second. DeRocher, end of the inning, flying out to White, making the score 4-1 in favor of the Tigers. In the 6th inning, the Cardinals really broke out, led by the great Dizzy Dean, who, after being razzed by the crowd for missing a strike by several yards, he then parked a 2-base hit against the barrier in left field. Pepper Martin singled to center field, and Dean crossed the plate, 5-1 the Cardinals. Jack Rothrock laid down a sacrifice Marbury to Greenberg. Quick, fouled out to Owen. This was a great catch by Marv Owen, who ran some 40 to 50 yards away from the third base cushion down the left field to make the catch. Joey Medwick, with a count 2 and 2, his 4th hit of the afternoon, with a single to right field, scoring Martin, making it the Cards 6, Tigers 1. Collins then gave perfect execution of a hit-and-run play with a ringing single to right field, sending Joey Medwick to third. At this point, Halstead replaced Marbury. Halstead is a southpaw. Delancey doubled against the barrier, sending Medwick and Collins across the plate, making it 8-1, the Cardinals. Orzani then rounded out Geringer to Greenberg. In the 6th inning, the Cards scored 4 runs on 5 hits and no errors. The Tigers came back in the last half of the 6th inning with Geringer going out Collins Dean. Greenberg singled to center field when Orzani tried a shoestring catch. He was given an error because Greenberg went to second. Bruce Gosling singled to left field, and Greenberg scored 8-2 the Cards. O'Gell is out first to Collins. Gosling went to second. Owen then struck out. No more scoring then until the Tiger half of the 8th inning. At that time, Ricky Cochran was first up. He was out to Rosa to Collins. Geringer tried to Medwick. Hank Greenberg came up and smacked a long drive into the newly erected stand in deep left field at Haven Field for a home run, making it 8-3, which was the final score. The Tiger half of the 8th inning, 1 run, 1 hit, and no errors. So the final score and summary again. The St. Louis Cardinals, representatives of the National League, 8 runs, 13 hits, and 2 errors. The Detroit Tigers, representing the American League, 3 runs, 8 hits, and 5 errors. The starting pitchers this afternoon, Jerome Dizzy Dean, who turned in 30 great victories in the regular campaign for the National League Senate. He was opposed by General Crowder. General Crowder, you know, was one of the outstanding right-hand pitchers of the American League for several years, particularly during the playing season of 1933, when he turned in a great number of victories to assist the Washington Senators in winning the American League pennant. However, he appeared to be plenty tired in the series last year and failed. But he came back again this afternoon, inspired by new surroundings. The crowd out here at Detroit. He went in the box this afternoon, but was treated rather roughly by the representatives of the National League, the St. Louis Cardinals. The outstanding plays this afternoon has been quite agreed by Ford Barnes and Graham McNamee and yours truly. Of course, the two long matches for home runs, both in the left field bleachers. One by Joey Medlick of the Cardinals, the other by the first baseman Hank Greenberg of the Tigers. Bob Owens started that long foul. It was a flipper. Anytime a third tracker goes 40 or 50 yards down the left field with his back to the plate, that is easily the outstanding play of the day. Billy Rosell turned in two great plays in the seventh inning. He leaped into the air for a bad boundary, got his man at first. Then a fly ball was sandwiched in between. And for the third out of that seventh inning, Billy Rosell dashed over close to second base cushion, went down on one knee, and came up with a skipper that was a swell play and got it over to first base for another out.
And now, don't forget, weather permitting, the Ford Motor Company brings you another World Series game tomorrow at 1:15 Eastern Standard Time. The report of this first of the 1934 World Series between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Tigers of Detroit was sent to you through the facilities of the National Broadcasting Company. Goodbye.